What's up, everybody? How's it going? We're doing something a little different tonight. I know this isn't Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, but we are going to do a review of the show. And as you can see, I have with me Basement. I have Connor Okayfabe. Of course, I have Bobbit, Trek, Gina, and Heather is sitting just on the other side of the computer. How are you all doing tonight?
Fucking fantastic after
I can
this
tell
new little
from the beginning of the fucking show. I can fucking tell.
I think we've got a case of the giggles tonight, so I'm warning everybody in advance.
Yeah.
Seems
I'm just waiting for the Little Mermaid movie to come out.
Oh my god!
Under the sea.
So
You got legs.
This is the first time I'm actually doing a review where I actually took notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try, and thank God that all these guys are here, because if I was to do this by myself, I'd probably throw myself off the balcony. Just because I would fucking just lose my shit. So, of course, we seen what happened Monday night. We started off with Braun and Bobby Lashley. And I really, when this match started, I'm like, okay, it's a false count anywhere. I knew something big was going to happen. We always do, because they always do something like this. But what ensued, what, about 10, 15 minutes into the match? No, not even. It was like 5, 10 minutes into the match. They got up on the stage, because they started it in the ring, and then they kind of made their way around the crowd and all this stupid shit. They ended up at the top of the stage. Bobby Lashley did his stupid fucking pose, and then Braun Strowman speared him through the LED lights, and everything exploded. Now, when I was watching this, I was looking down, I was writing down exactly what was going to happen, because I seen it coming. The next thing I hear is Corey Graves say, "Holy shit." And I'm like, Heather, rewind that. Did he just say what I think he just said? You ever have one of those moments where you're sitting there and it's like, he did not just say that. We rewound it. He said, "Holy shit." So it was like, what did that, the first 20 minutes of the show, well, the first 10 minutes of the show was wrestling. The next 10 minutes was trying to figure out whether or not this was a work or not. So my question to you guys, what did you think of the spot? And what about the dead time that they had in the 10 minutes after? Because it seemed like 10 minutes.
I was just happy we got Pyro back with that.
Shut up, Trek. You're not allowed to talk anymore. I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, what did y'all think of what happened? Connor? Or did he step up?
Holy shit.
You got legs.
No, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So, it's bad when me and Basement are on the same call.
No, it's okay. I've been there.
I thought it was one of the better openings of Raw in a long ass time, to be completely honest with you. As like tribal and like little out of left field as it was one of the better openings they've ever had, because it was actually. I mean, granted it was Strowman and Lashley. Sure, we've seen it before. Eye roll and yeah, it was kind of a cliche way to end it with them like doing the whole over the top grandiose like blowing up the stage.
Right.
But shit, I was like, damn. Better than a lot of stuff we've seen in recent weeks. Or at least nobody's talking. At least they're just going right through the fucking thing and just going over the top. I appreciate that. I appreciated that more for that reason. It's like, oh, at least it's fucking different this time.
Right. I mean, I can't name a segment in the last 5 years. That was one of the better segments I think they have done on either show in that long. In my that I can recollect, you know what I mean? So I enjoy. I'm not gonna say that, but you can see what they were trying to do, because they were going from spot to spot to spot to spot. But then when they did that, I'm sitting there, and I know that Gina, she was like, "Was this real? Or was this fake?"
It was. For
Go
a
ahead.
second, I was because like the only thing that made me think, okay, first of all, let me clarify. I knew that like the stunt was a setup. It was that was pretty obvious with the fucking fireworks going off all over the place and stuff. But
Agreed.
what I was questioning was more or less, did they fill in the announcers as to what was going to happen because of Corey Graves' response?
See, that's my thinking as well. I don't think that they did. I don't think they included them in it
Good.
because that just sounded like an organic reaction.
It was like it really was like a organic holy shit. And my opinion is, if they didn't include them in there, then it was an authentic reaction. But if they did, then the announcement table for once in the past 5 years deserve a fucking reward or raise or something, because they did great with that.
Well, Corey Graves did. All we heard from Renee Young was "Oh!" again.
Right, but when they came back from, she was crying.
I know.
She was literally crying. So if she knew what had happened, then
Mhm.
fucking Oscar goes to Renee Young.
I agree. I can agree with that.
Imagine if right before they just like someone killed your dog and go.
Oh my god!
What?
John Moxley isn't that good. And
I don't understand why you're asking me. My dog just died. No, your dog didn't really just die. But
What?
yeah. So Bobbit, I know that you are watching it. What did you think?
Well, like he says, me and Trek was on the call. We was just watching it together, and then all of a sudden, I saw Braun Strowman spear Bobby Lashley. I'm like, holy shit! They just went through the LED board, man.
What is
It's
it?
like-
Did you told me that they are redoing the stage, correct?
Yes.
You heard that.
Yes, they're getting a whole new stage for Raw,
Now,
and
who did you hear
well, see-
that from?
I heard that through Fightful, actually.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay,
And,
it's not ringside news, so good job, Bobbit.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but so I thought it was real because like shit just kept going off.
Right. I mean, I'll say this, and then I'll go to basement because Trek was just like, we got pyro, so apparently that's all he thought of it. You know, what did you think of? What did you think of it, Trek? The spot itself.
After the past few weeks of why can't they start off with a match, why they have to start off with a promo and stuff that we've talked about the calls before, it was refreshing to see them start off with the match, and then it's even more refreshing to see them go through the wall and see everything just go freaking ape shit.
Right.
And I thought it was awesome too, and holy crap! And I heard the same report Bobbitt did. It was on Wrestling Inc. So
Okay,
Well,
they're just
and I
about as
think-
trustworthy. Go ahead.
I think initially, like, everybody reacted the way that we did because, like you guys were saying, we have not seen anything like that
Mhm.
on Raw for at least the past 5 years. So it was that kind of shock factor that we've all been missing.
It wasn't just that, it was
Unfortunately,
also Corey Graves.
huh?
It was also the Corey Graves.
Corey
Yes,
Graves saying all
exactly.
shit. Yeah. It
Yeah,
was.
exactly.
I enjoyed
So it was just the whole thing was just a huge shock factor. So I did enjoy that because we were missing it.
Now,
we
my
have been-
next question, staying on this for just a few more minutes. We all know that Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff are taking over Raw and SmackDown respectively. Do you think Heyman produced this, or should I say directed it, because that's going to be his position? Do you think that he directed this segment? I think he did. I think they said, okay, they're going to see what you can do, direct this segment. I think they may have. I don't know.
I mean,
you go.
it's hard to tell because, Vince McMahon, no matter how much no matter how much shit we want to talk about Vince McMahon, he still does have that in him
Mm-hmm.
to pull something like that off. And especially with how bad the ratings have been tanking lately. It very well could have been Vince saying, hey, you know what? Fuck it. And I did actually just read something stating that Vince was aiming toward more of a teenage audience now instead of little kids.
That's
So
a
maybe the
bonus.
PG era is over.
We're hoping. I don't want to see tits and ass, though. I'll tell you that much right
Oh God, no. I don't
I
want
do.
to see them.
We'll get into that. That's coming later here. I can't
don't
wait
even
to
get
talk to
started on
Gina
that shit.
about this. I can't
Fuck
wait.
asshole.
Basement. I know that you watch the show, or well, you watch it. You watched it for the first time in a long time, correct?
I did. Now a lot of that was because I actually tuned in after I saw the explosion on social media of people saying like, "Holy shit, this is different" or whatever. I
Right.
also had a bit more intrigue because if they're announcing that Paul Heyman's going to take over Raw and Bischoff's going to take over SmackDown, they had to come with something. You can't just have that announcement and just do the same old tired fucking Raw.
Right.
So have them come out with a spot that's a bit more edgy, which is along the lines of what everybody thinks Paul Heyman can do, being the runner of ECW in the past. They needed to come up with something like this. As to whether he has had his hands in producing it or not, he might have well, but I don't know 100%. I've heard that he hasn't taken over the show yet,
No,
so
no.
I don't know. But even if he didn't have his hands in producing it, they needed to do something like this. So I tuned in, and I tuned in just in time to see the replay of what happened. I didn't see the actual spot live,
Yeah,
but it got because it got people talking on Twitter. It got me to take my time. I was at work and I was fucking watching this thing, so it did something, right?
Right.
For the longest time, I was asking for something to get me back into Raw and SmackDown as regular programming. I wouldn't say it got me back into wanting to watch Raw and SmackDown every week or anything like that, but to see the spot and to see then the commentary team, they're just as much to be rewarded as the booking of the spot,
I agree.
because they did a really good job in selling everything, and that continued throughout the rest of the show.
I agree. I agree. Now I know for the 10 minutes they sat on them backstage in a camera, which tells me it was a setup, because they never have a camera like that behind the stage. So
Mhm.
that tells me, but that just them not speaking anything, not really saying anything. Corey Graves actually going back and helping clear out the debris added
Mhm.
a little bit of it to little bit of the drama, if you want to say drama, to what had just happened, which made it look like, this is where my question comes in. I sat there and I don't know if this is a work. It may not be a work. I
Well,
don't. It had me thinking for about 5 minutes.
well, and I was kind of the same way, because at first I was thinking maybe it had they were supposed to go through the LED board, but maybe something had gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because that can happen, especially when you're firing off fireworks and all this shit, like right next to these guys. So I thought something actually went wrong.
Well, I'm going to say this. I think that I'm not saying that there is, and it has not been confirmed, but they could have gotten hurt, seriously injured. I mean, Braun Strowman, I don't think he has a ruptured spleen. I don't think he has broken bones, but
Fractures, yeah.
he might have sprained his coccyx. I'm just being a smart ass now.
Easy there, gorilla.
He might have maybe broken a finger or sprained his wrist, or
He broke his tibia.
that's a leg bone.
Fuck,
I
God,
know what it is.
It's a bone. It's a
He
bone.
broke his dick.
But anyway,
It was definitely a work. Yeah, I could tell it was a work from the beginning. I had no doubt in my mind that it was a work, but
right.
it reignited the idea that kayfabe could still exist this day and age.
Yes.
And they did a really good
Yes.
job in trying to reignite that, and that's what wrestling's been missing for a long time, in my opinion.
Right.
Speaking of reigniting, I think there was not enough sparks.
Fucking landed in a fireworks shop.
Right.
I think I needed about as much sparks as a classic Power Rangers episode in order for me to really,
It was,
really, truly believe.
Right.
it was just a kickoff to the 4th of July. That's all that they were doing.
That could be what
Seriously.
they were doing. They were paying an homage. But does anybody else have anything to add on to this? I mean, they did go to a commercial and they still hadn't cleared the area. Then I think this segment lasted like 20 minutes, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Because they went to a commercial, they came back, and they hadn't even gotten Bobby Lashley into an ambulance yet. Braun Strowman hadn't
There wasn't
even
even
been.
on a stretcher yet.
Yeah, he wasn't even on a stretcher yet. And then they just did a recap. Now, the one thing that I did like, and I kept telling Heather this, is I liked how they kept going back to it. Remember how Raws, when something big happened, they kind of revolved it around the show and made it a focal point. Hey, you need to see this, and then just keep showing it. I loved that when they did that.
Yeah, I agree. On Raw, I can't talk tonight. On Raw, that was a great plan. Like they did awesome with reviewing it on Raw. SmackDown, in my opinion, they did it a few too many times.
Yeah, it kind of got, okay, we've seen it, we're good. But then again, I think the reason that they do that is for some ungodly reason, they must think that they don't get the same audience on Raw that they do on SmackDown. I don't know what it is. I don't know why they do that. But I know Heather's reaction. We sat here because she had pretty much the same reaction I did when when Corey Graves said, "Holy shit."
I said, look, he's fired.
Yeah, it's exactly what came out of it. Well, he's fired because PG era, they don't want that stuff. But yeah.
You guys actually know my reaction too, because I right away I took to Twitter and I'm DMing like all of these guys and I'm going, did Corey Graves just say holy shit?
Right. That's exactly what I said to Heather. I said, did he just say holy shit? And she goes, I think he did. In fact, Wendy was sitting there with us, and she kind of like
stopped and looked at the TV.
It's like so. Yeah, I enjoyed that segment. It was a great kickoff to the show, and then it fell off.
Well, JP, I will say, like, I agree with you 100% that they kept touching on it throughout the show, and it wasn't just the commentators like stopping and saying, well, we've got an update on this, an update on that. You also had that moment of bliss where she made mention of it as well. So they did run it as a focal point.
I can't remember what it was, but it was in one of the chats that we have, and somebody kept saying, why is everybody saying, and it'd probably take me a while to find the response that I had, and I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to name who it was, but they said, why do they keep saying wishing them best wishes, well wishes? Are they not heels or faces? Are they flipping people? I'm like, did you ever think that maybe they're trying to, it's kayfabe? They're trying to...
Well, and...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
No,
Well, no, I agree with you there. It's kayfabe, but in the same sense, it's like it doesn't matter if they're heel or face. Like, in order to make the story seem
legit,
real, as if kayfabe, in order to make it seem legit, they have to be like, I hope that the best for both of them. I hope that blah 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 blah. They have to do.
Yep, and then that added to it, especially when Alexa Bliss says, "I wish." Even though that her and Braun Strowman were tag team partners, I think even fucking Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch said, I wish them a speedy recovery. It's like...
Yeah, the spot wouldn't have
don't get me fucking started on that shit.
Even. The spot wouldn't have had the same weight if it wasn't done throughout the show by more than just the commentators speaking about it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Then we get the Viking Raiders versus A New Day. Now, this is how they usually open the show, is with a match like this. The only difference is they did not have a promo. Because you know how that always starts out. What they did do is they switched it up, and Samoa Joe interferes in the match. Kofi comes out, and they have an impromptu 6-man tag team match.
Holla, holla.
This is where I looked at Heather and I'm like, okay, now they just had one of the best segments that they had in 5 years, and they just shit all over themselves. They go right back to this formulaic,
predictable garbage.
The match ended. I didn't even. I'm not gonna lie, guys. The match went back and forth. That's all I really paid attention to, because I was watching Wendy roll around on the floor. Tells you a lot. I seen the end of the Kofi faded to the Coquina clutch at the end of the match. That's all I got. What do you guys think?
It was one of those matches where they're just checking off boxes to make sure that, hey, we're putting people that are in a feud together. They've got to see some time together in ring, and let's move on.
Right.
Well, I do have to say this though. I mean, what I liked about it is that um they had people that were actually in a feud coming up the next pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
That like the tag teams weren't just because I believe isn't it excuse me, New Day versus the Viking Raiders or whatever for
Experience.
the tag title at the
No.
next pay-per-view?
No.
Oh,
The
it's
New
not. Well,
Day-
either way around, they
Growing,
had
hair growing.
The New Day is going to be in a triple threat for the
With-
SmackDown tag team titles.
okay. So partially they did kind of what a New Japan kind of does, like partially because they had Kofi and Samoa Joe in there. But I would have rather preferred it if Samoa Joe would have teamed up with like Daniel Bryan and fucking Rowan. But I'll take it. Whatever.
I'm going to say this. I would prefer it if they didn't show up.
Kept them separate until the pay-per-view.
Not until the pay-per-view, the go-home show. I would have done.
Yeah.
I would have. We'll talk about it when we do SmackDown. SmackDown. I would have much rather had them do their promo like this on the go-home show than do it the next fucking night.
Yeah.
They're overdoing. This is the problem with WWE. They overdo shit, and it just drags the show down.
Yeah.
Connor, what did you think?
What, rolling right into the tag team match right after the Strowman and Lashley thing?
I didn't mind that. It's
The match.
they went right back to their formulaic. Oh, we're gonna
Spot.
Basement said they're gonna go from spot to spot to spot. Oh, interference. Samoa Joe interferes. Kofi comes out. Impromptu 6-man tag team match.
I mean, they got us in with the bait and switch kind of deal where, kind of going off of what Basement said earlier about, the biggest news in wrestling that week, no doubt, was that Heyman and Bischoff were taking over.
Correct.
Now, if you did I can't even talk either. If you did your due diligence,
Right,
you would
okay.
know, like we talked about, that Heyman is not instantly taking over. I think the beginning segment had Heyman's fingerprints all over it because it's one of those things that he would do, especially the amount of time they spent showing you like this is a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way they wanted to present it, and it came across as a big fucking deal. Everyone was talking about it,
Right.
even if it was just Corey Graves. But Heyman did not have complete control over the entire show, and so you're gonna see little like weaves of that at the very beginning, and that's what I think this was. It was just of, hey, we know that there's a lot of momentum and there's a lot of buzz going into this week's TV because they randomly on a Thursday announced that Heyman and Bischoff were coming on board. So they had to follow up with something to make it seem like, oh, hey, you got to tune in because now it's going to happen almost instantaneously, even though realistically it's not.
Right.
So I roll my eyes, but at the same time, I'm not too surprised. Like I told you before we got on here, it's going to take some time before Heyman has complete.
Oh no, I agree.
Quote unquote control. So, but
Right. No,
I think it's just formulaic. It is what it is. I'd rather Joe at least attack Kofi to at least have some sort of semblance of fucking reason and logic behind why he's getting a title shot. So hey, I'll take that at the very least.
Right, and I get that. But there's a certain point where, and I already said it. I don't know if you heard it. There's too much. They overdo it sometimes too much. Where okay, we get it. They're having a match. Can we not see them face off? Have them in separate matches. Don't have them. Remember how if you watch the Attitude Era, like when the build to WrestleMania 15, they did not always have Stone Cold and The Rock in the same ring at the same time 3 weeks in a row. WWE for some reason does that now, and I don't know why. It's they don't know how to storytell. That's the problem that they're having. That's just me. But
At this point, I'm taking victories where I can.
no, I get it. I get it. No, you're right, and I cannot disagree with that. I mean, they the show was not bad, but it wasn't one of those shows like, oh my god, I gotta fucking watch it 15 times over. You know what I mean? By this time, I was on the phone call with Bobbitt and Trek, so essentially, we talked about it, but rehash what you guys thought about this match. Trek, Bobbitt.
For me, I thought it was good, but I thought it was predictable. I could tell Joe was gonna come out, and I could tell Kofi was gonna come out, and there's gonna be a 6-man tag, and I was just looking for Teddy Long in the crowd to see when he was gonna make the announcement. You know,
Your dad jokes. Go ahead.
And I had a feeling that the end was gonna be the Coquina clutch. I like how they set it up, but it felt like they rushed it a lot too.
Okay. Gina, did you say something?
No.
Okay, well, hashtag fuck me.
Okay.
Bobbitt, go ahead.
Not to. Well, I don't really have much more to add, but I thought it was an okay match. Decent little match to kick off. Well, I mean, right after the holy shit segment. So, yeah, I really don't have much more to add to it.
Well, I mean, let's get real here. Anytime, say what you want to say about the New Day, but anytime that the New Day is in the ring wrestling, it's going to be a decent match because they're good wrestlers.
I'm not taking that away. I'm not taking that away. I do agree there, and everybody's like, oh, I wish, and I know why people want to see it, and it'd be a good move, but I don't ever see WWE turning any of them against each other. They are too much fucking money for WWE right now.
Agreed.
To do anything with that. I do not see Big E turning on Kofi Kingston.
Well, and not only
Now,
that, but
that being said, Bischoff will probably be that guy that would do it. I can see Bischoff doing something like that. Like fucking swerving the absolute fuck out of everybody, and then fucking everybody on Twitter losing their shit because Big E turned on fucking Kofi Kingston. In fact, I'll go one further and say it'll probably be Xavier Woods that does it.
yeah, I mean, I would love to see it, but I'm one of those firm believers that I don't think it'll ever happen, just simply because. Okay, let's face it, not to get into the whole race thing, but the WWE does not have a whole lot of African American like competitors, okay? But like the ones that they do, like you got Shelton Benjamin, who's pretty much a heel, Bobby Lashley, again, pretty much a heel. There's a few others, Street Profits are faces, but otherwise, like the New Day is their big face franchise, and they're a positive example for that community, you know, so I don't really see them turning them anytime soon.
Also, they make money.
That's what I
big
mean.
time.
I don't see them.
Fucking
That's
money.
why I don't ever see them.
They're not only a big franchise for just the African American community, but like they're a big franchise for everybody. Like everybody loves the fucking New Day.
Yeah. No,
The one thing I loved is like as soon as you see the first spot and Twitter erupts, welcome to the Paul Heyman era. It's like shut the fuck up.
yeah, that like
online
calm
wrestling
down, people.
community
Guilty.
is like so knee-jerk reaction to everything. I'm like, it's been 10
You know
minutes
what?
into the show, and all of a sudden it's like, this is how WWE's gonna be now. Oh, and now we get a tag match.
You know what, Basement? I can knee-jerk react if I want to.
Again, doesn't mean I have to like it.
Fair enough.
Jackass. Anyway.
If I hit everybody on this match,
Yeah.
Basement, did you talk about this match? Oh yeah, you did.
Talked as much as I wanted to.
All right, so I don't know. They did before they. If I remember right, before they went to a commercial, they had Drake Maverick had brought his wife to Raw.
Yes.
Blindfolded.
I fucking hate the 24/7 title. I am of the minority. I understand that. I don't care for it. Keep it on YouTube, keep it on social media, but don't put it on the shows. Sorry. I just don't. Go ahead.
If it was like the only corny segment they kind of do
Yeah.
on Raw, then I can be fine with it. But I mean, half the time, fucking Raw is overflowing with the corny bullshit. So adding more cheese to it is like,
But like there's different levels of cheese. Okay, like you had the Becky Lynch thing, which we'll get into in a little bit, but like that was like cringy cheese. Whereas like for me, the 24/7 title is more like just fun, cheesy.
it's a segment that I can actually chuckle at, where like
Yeah.
a lot of the other shit is just like, please fucking turn this thing off.
And
It's like a segment where you wouldn't want somebody to know you watch wrestling.
and Drake Maverick's wife did an incredible job with like her eye rolls and all that. Like just all of her facial reactions were great.
She is in NXT. She is actually she's at the Performance Center. She is with WWE.
Really?
So yes.
Yeah, she's a wrestler.
She's a wrestler.
Oh, I had no
Who could
idea.
kick her ass? Who could kick Drake's ass? Because he is fucking small. But anyway, so they end up going to a commercial, and then they come back, and then it comes back to them two talking about, hey, we're going on our honeymoon. I don't even know why in the fuck they showed up to the show. Well, we do, because I don't know, she walked away to go freshen up or something. I don't remember. And
Clean her vagina.
whatever. And R-Truth is behind him, and he's like, I don't want to fucking deal with this. And then R-Truth walks away or whatever, and he hits him in the back, and Drake Maverick wins the 24/7 title. Now, I will say this, at least that was the only segment we got with this. The week before, the title changed hand, 10 fucking times in like 2.5 minutes?
Yeah, just about.
Sounds like
Well,
WWE.
and I will say this factor, not everybody has Twitter. Like, okay, my uncle, for example, my uncle watches Raw,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't have Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't see the things that are going on Twitter, so like a lot of what led up to what happened on Monday night had been taking place on Twitter. So for people like my uncle, he was watching and he was a little perplexed and confused as to like what was happening, because they led up to the story through social media. So I think that they have to find some sort of a balance, in my opinion. I don't know what they're gonna do, but not everybody has social media accounts. So
Right. So,
but then again, it's 2019. I mean, come on, who the fuck doesn't have social media accounts?
right. I don't know how I can't remember. What did you guys think of the segment, Bobbit, Trek? I'm mushing these two together, but I don't know why I do that all the time. I feel like an asshole doing it. But go ahead, one of you two can go ahead, or just sit there and.
It just felt like
Go
the
ahead.
first time we saw them in the crowd, it just felt like there was a way to get No Way Jose on TV, because he instantly came out was doing the conga line stuff, which I like. I don't mind No Way Jose, but it just felt like it was just thrown together at the last minute.
Yeah, but I mean, with Truth in the conga line was fucking hilarious. That was
Yeah.
funny.
I hope No Way Jose gets hit by a
Yes.
truck.
Bobbit,
At
what do
least he
you?
doesn't
Hey,
have to
hey.
break someone. All right.
Bobbit, go ahead.
I'm saying this now. I will find a way to get inside that damn conga line. I want to do some damn conga.
You're so weird.
Like, yeah. I know you're over the 24/7 belt, JP.
Yes.
I still love it.
You're a fucking knucklehead. But
Belt
anyway.
looks like a fucking pile of shit.
Connor,
Yeah, the belt is awful.
Connor, I think you're of the majority and you like this 24/7 thing. Do you or do you not? I mean, if you do, it's fine.
When done right, it is one of the highlights for me for Raw. I think that it to kind of echo on some of the things that other people have said. Gina's right, like in terms of it's not going to hit everyone. I think that it's one of those things that is so absurd and out there, but people can get behind it.
Mhm.
I argued that people who may not like the segment, I tell them and I ask them, do they like the hardcore title back in the day? And they said yes. And I said, well, half of, if not most of the reason people like the hardcore title was the 24/7 rule. I'm not saying that the name of the 24/7 title is great, nor is the design that great, but the concept of a championship constantly changing hands, and really the big thing I like about it is that it gives purpose for a good chunk of the undercard, and the stories practically write themselves. Like, I think R-Truth is a jack of all trades to be able to, and I think this is a great like platform for him and Drake Maverick too. Like, even though he's still a general manager of 205 Live, I'm not going to get into semantics because my brain's going to bleed if I try to think of it anymore. But the point is that it's not one of those things that I'm really thinking about. It's not one of those things that I'm just kind of deep diving into and saying, well, this doesn't make sense if this is the case or this is the hat. It's just goofy, stupid shit that I just enjoy for the sake of being goofy, stupid shit. It's like when Truth was doing the whole thing of coming out and having the wrong match type. When like they were promoting the Royal Rumble, he's like, I'm gonna win the Money in the Bank, and he's like, Truth, not only are you not in the Rumble, it's not the Money in the Bank, it's the Rumble. He's like, my bad, and he was like getting a ladder in the middle. It's just comedy for the sake of just goofy silliness. Like, I don't mind that because that's exactly what it is.
And to add to what Connor said, Truth actually, he doesn't call it the 24/7 title. He calls it the European Championship. So that's a little bit of the comedy that Truth brings to the table.
Well, what did he call it on Monday?
The European 24/7 Championship.
Yeah.
There it is. The European 24/7 title, TV title. I'm like, okay, dude, he just keeps adding titles to it.
But that's what makes Truth.
I enjoy Truth. I think Truth is good comedy. I think he pulls it off. I wasn't a fan of the hardcore title, the 24/7 thing. I was not a fan of it.
Let me ask you this question, JP, and I don't want to cut you off here, but
No, go ahead.
were you ever a fan of the Three Stooges?
Not really.
I mean, I was, but not really.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I think the way you look at it, there's really like two things to say with it. I agree with Connor where, yeah, it gives people that are on the it gives people that I don't necessarily want to see have a match screen time on the show, and gets them to use the undercard. But I also look at it as having a shelf life, just like the hardcore title did. And with every other title, they can go on forever. They're a staple in the show. I would say the 24/7 title is kind of like it's in my mind, it's not going to last.
But what I think it did do was something that we were saying that they needed, and it provided a very, very much needed filler for the show that people can laugh at. Like it's not just a wasted filler, so to speak.
Right.
It has a purpose.
But I feel like how are we going to feel a year from now when this type of shenanigans?
I'm probably still going to be laughing at the shenanigans. I'm not going to lie.
Well, what I was about to say was it's different of like having like, let's say, a championship where you know straight up this is exactly what this is going to be, as opposed to coming out and saying, oh, by the way, the United States Championship is now contested under 24/7 rules. That's a totally different conversation.
Right.
It's a completely niche title, and it will stay that way forever.
Yes.
It has no value per se, but the value, I guess, is in the entertainment it can give to people. It's a purely
Truth is a 9-time champion now, for God's sakes.
It's like Charlotte.
I know that Truth is more like a comedic act, so to speak, but that man has done so much for the business. I would love to see him have the WWE Championship at least once, even if it's only for one day. Even if it's only for one day, I would love to see him be a WWE champion.
The reason I don't want to see that, I don't want to see that at all, because the championship should have prestige. It shouldn't be based on a comedy act.
I understand that, but R-Truth is an incredible athlete, and he has done so much for this company.
But look at the transition you'd have to do with his character.
It's not only just that company that he's done for. He's also been a champion in NWA.
He was a world heavyweight champion in NWA.
I understand, but you have to transition his character completely.
Because, like, look at Kofi Kingston.
He's a joke.
Yeah, but Kofi Kingston was never a joke character.
No.
He wasn't a joke character coming out throwing pancakes.
Well, that's
screaming food.
I don't
They
want.
were still a respectable tag team at that point. Like they had won championships.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't want my champion in a comedy segment.
But Truth has also done segments with WWE where it wasn't a comedy segment.
No, I know.
I know, but he's a 40-plus-year-old talent. I mean, it took a lot to get him to that stage, in my opinion.
But that's why I'm saying, even if it's just one time on a fluke for one day, the man has earned it. He has done so much for that company. In my opinion, he's earned it.
Yeah, but
I know, but there's more
hate
than
to
just
say
like.
this.
There's
your
more to
opinion
it than that.
Don't matter because it's all about fucking Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
yeah,
think
I
he'll
agree
ever
with
do
you.
it. I don't
But
think
not
he'll ever
everybody that's put in all the hard work becomes a champion. Not everybody that's done everything for the company becomes a champion, right?
True.
I agree. I just think that R-Truth is just such a likable character that it would be nice, but it probably won't happen.
No.
It would be nice, but it would be detrimental overall.
I mean,
You're so negative.
no,
Like,
I mean,
the title already doesn't mean very much, but then you throw it on R-Truth, unless his character goes through a huge change. But I mean, the clock's ticking on the guy. He's not gonna be wrestling forever, and if he is, he's not gonna be wrestling.
Something like that now.
He's 42 or something.
he's
like that.
He's not. He's older than that.
He's like 8.
He's
He
almost
looks
50.
like he's like fucking 30. He never ages.
He's almost 50.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
but anyway,
So anyway, Drake Maverick ends up winning the title, and then there was on YouTube the next freaking day, his wife, or was it on SmackDown? His wife had to sit and coach, and him and the title were in first place.
It was on Slither.
His marriage is gonna end probably on this. How much you want to bet?
you know it's a fucking work. I mean,
No, I
I
know
know,
it
but
is. I know it is.
It's a pretty funny storyline. I'll give you that.
I mean they're but it's these two. As you can see, they have fucking EC3 chasing, and I'll get into that probably Friday about the fucking. I'm so sick and fucking tired of people saying, well, they're burying this guy on. Fuck, I'm telling you right now, everybody. I am telling you right now, they are punishing Drew McIntyre and EC3 for what they did at Evolve 3 or 4 years ago.
I agree.
I'm
Along
telling
with-
you right now, you can sit there and say, I don't think that's true. You go watch that promo, and I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure. I mean, they buried the WWE.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad.
Ethan Carter the turd.
So, but the next segment we got, and this was another theme of the show, backstage with Gallows and Anderson, and they were sitting there shooting the shit like they usually do, and then AJ Styles shows up, right? AJ Styles showed up, and then they started, because I just wrote down Gallows and Anderson.
No.
You guys go ahead and talk about this, because I fucking.
They went to the other guy first. Fuck.
Ricochet?
Ricochet. They went to Ricochet first
Okay.
and started like saying that he couldn't beat AJ Styles and all this stuff, and then Ricochet was like, I could beat him. They goaded him into saying they could beat him,
Right.
and then he went to AJ after that
Right.
and told AJ that he says he can beat you or whatever. But I love that storyline. I loved it, every aspect of it.
I mean, I got a couple things to say about the storyline. I mean, they slapped the shit out of each other at one point, but I don't think these two should have ever entered a ring together on tele-pay-per-view.
I agree.
Yes.
Putting it on regular television is ridiculous. Like that's a money match to me because you've got two of the best athletes in the business going at it. You don't make them fight not only once but twice in ring.
But you also have to remember that Raw ratings have been down. So, like, I can understand why they're having these big money matches because, I mean, normally I would agree with the pay-per-view, but ratings have been down. They have to do something.
No, and
But
I
I
understand
think
that.
you
I
can-
understand that, and I agree with you, Gina. But don't you think Seth Rollins versus AJ would be a money match? And they did that on Raw, and it didn't move the needle at all. In fact, they lost viewers because of it.
That's because the match was not great.
But I also think
well,
that
that's
Ricochet-
because they only gave them 10 minutes or 20 minutes, and fucking 15 of it was fucking commercials.
But I also think the original match between Ricochet and AJ was just fucking thrown together. Like The reason it's a big money match has more to do with just the two in the ring that are fighting each other. What are they fighting for? And you can't just say a title. There's got to be some build. It should have been I'm the best athlete. I'm the best athlete. They go back and forth in backstage segments. They cross paths every now and then, but they don't actually get in ring together. You build hype. You don't just fucking flop your dick on the table.
But I don't think that was actually the match itself was not where the hype was. The hype was what happened at the end of the show. That's what it was leading to.
But with Ricochet being that person, I don't know if I would have done that. But that's just me.
I also think they're moving a bit too fast with Ricochet anyway.
Me too. Way too fast.
I
What about anybody
disagree.
else?
Yeah, but this is nothing new. They've done this in wrestling for a long time. I mean, they threw out a free championship match to WCW Goldberg versus Hogan instead of promoting the shit out of it for their main pay-per-view. So it's not like this is anything new.
Do you know why WCW did that?
Yeah, they wanted to beat WWE any way possible.
On what?
In Monday Night Wars.
Do you guys not realize that AJ and Ricochet got thrown together the week of the AEW show and the week right after the AEW show?
Yeah.
But I don't think this is
not find that a little bit coincidental.
But it's not a singular problem with AJ and Ricochet. This is just a widespread problem with WWE. They give away too much before a pay-per-view in terms of in-ring show-offs. Every single match, they seemingly have 4 matches, and then they have a 5th match at the pay-per-view. It's like, I've seen it already.
Yeah.
And unless you're going to give me a stipulation, I've seen it already.
That's the problem that I have with it. And it's not that if they're going to throw, like last week when they did it and they threw them in there and Gallows and Anderson came out, I'm like, oh, thank God they aren't going to make them do it. But then AJ gets out of the ring and he says, no, we're going to do this match. I'm like, oh my God, no, why? I would have preferred the match to start and then somebody interfere.
Or make that a tag match or something. I'm okay
Yes.
with seeing a tag match with 2 guys that are eventually going to fight at a pay-per-view because they might have minimal interaction with each other. But it's like you're giving away the main course before we've even had a fucking, fucking appetizer. Yeah.
Give us a taste and then give us the whole meal at the fucking pay-per-view.
You got to tease it. And they do it all the time with every, like, I can, pretty much every match I've seen that's supposed to be this big match, unless it's these old fucks going at it, it's, they've always given the match away before they should have.
Yeah.
Especially with AJ Styles. It seems like they just, like, they want him to face, like, all of his, I guess, like, prime adversaries way before the pay-per-view.
Right. Connor, what about you?
Man, it's such a double-edged sword because on one hand,
I can agree.
It's a smart move to say, hey, AJ Styles versus Ricochet, check this shit out. I mean, they're trying. Like you can tell this is just another attempt by WWE to once again throw things against the wall. And again, like I said about the whole Heyman thing, he hasn't fully taken over yet. But I will say that at least they're trying to build off of something at least. Like there's, I mean, it's not a deep, cohesive storyline. It doesn't necessarily need to be a deep, cohesive storyline. But I get you guys' frustration of, oh, hey, AJ versus Ricochet should be on a pay-per-view. True, but I also think that the matches that we've got both last week and this were not their best stuff, which they could be saving for the pay-per-view. So it's a fucking damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. So at the very least, I appreciate them trying to come up with some sort of organic story as opposed to just you're fighting me, tough guy. Y'all, I'm AJ Styles.
No, I can see both arguments.
Well, and I think that what happened at the end of the show is going to add a lot more to their rivalry and eventually add a lot more to a pay-per-view match between the two of them. Because they actually said, like on Twitter afterwards, they like AJ and Carl Anderson, all them guys said, like, this isn't Japan, this isn't in another country, this isn't the old style, this is us now, and you're about ready to see some shit.
Well, I'm gonna say this: everybody wants this fucking Bullet Club shit. and it's not happening.
It literally is happening,
No,
JP.
no,
They
no.
said on Twitter, the club is
It-
back.
They
It's
said that before, though. I
the
swear they
club.
have.
It's not the Bullet
Oh
Club.
no,
It will never be the Bullet Club.
It can't be the Bullet Club.
That's
He's
what I'm
making
saying.
it
But
own
I was
Bullet
seeing
Club.
that all over Twitter, and it was kind of funny because AJ Styles, this guy tweeted at AJ Styles and said, why don't you quit being a soft dick and fucking, or quit being soft and fucking just go full bore on it. He goes, Gallows, or was it Luke Gallows?
Yeah.
Luke Gallows has something soft for you to play with.
Yeah, I see
So,
that one.
I mean,
No.
I can get behind AJ being a heel because he can do it all. He's the best in the company at what he does.
Personally, I think that the best AJ Styles I have ever seen is heel AJ Styles.
No, his baby faces. If you've seen his
It's
baby
very
face
difficult
when
to
he
be a
was
baby
younger
face.
is really
Yeah, I understand that, but babyface AJ is what we have had for the past, 3-4 years since he's been in the company, so it was time for a heel change.
But it's also very difficult to be an extremely over baby face. Only few wrestlers can actually do it.
Right,
He's a passable baby face, but he's definitely a better heel. I agree with you there.
Yeah,
And
he
when it
has-
comes down to the storyline, I will say Ricochet is not in a place where he can build a storyline off of his promo work or anything like that. So making them kind of build it more with their wrestling makes sense.
Mhm.
So I'm of two minds about it as well.
I now before I say this, nobody blow up at me because I am no way, shape, or form comparing AJ Styles to Stone Cold. But how Stone Cold was a heel, right? But he also had that touch of baby face because he was a beloved heel. And I feel like AJ Styles could be that type of heel. Like everybody loves him, but he's a heel.
Stone Cold Steve Austin was never really a babyface, and he was never really a heel.
That's
He was
what I'm
more.
talking
He
about.
was more of a heel than he was a babyface. He was like.
That's literally what I just said.
No, that's not what you said. You said it different. And
Well,
I
I mean,
it
it-
didn't sound like that's
But I
what you were
think that
saying.
you and I are kind of going down the same alleyway here. They ride the line between heel and babyface
Stone Cold
to the audience anyway.
Stone Cold, yeah. Well, I mean, AJ Styles, he is either a heel or a babyface.
And I understand that, but what I'm saying is that if the audience loves him as a heel, then he's over with the audience, which kind of.
Which is fine, but are people gonna buy him being a heel? That's the thing.
I think so because 90% of your wrestling fans that you have these days, most of the people have heard of the Bullet Club and they've seen AJ matches within the Bullet Club, so they know him.
And I've already seen tweets of, yes, we get AJ heel turn, but it was exactly the same heel turn that he did against John Cena.
Yeah, it was rewritten.
I don't know. I'm hoping. I have my fingers crossed, but we'll see.
The one thing we didn't really mention is the moving AJ to mid card and having Ricochet in mid card gives mid card a pretty strong push that they've been lacking for a long time.
For me, it's the wrong title.
Yeah, it should be IC, but
it should be the Intercontinental title, not the US title. That's just.
I'm not going to be nitpicky. It's mid card title. I know the US is below IC.
Well, the Intercontinental title is on. Well, if you want to. If they even have brand split anymore, I don't know what the fuck's going on with that.
They're teasing Nakamura with him.
Yeah, they're teasing Nakamura with Finn
Balor. Oh, that would be good.
I said that last week and nobody answered me. God damn it.
Damn it. Well, unfortunately, guys, I do have to hop off this call early just because I hear my little one just screaming her head off. But I was glad to be part of this while I could. So thank you guys for having me on.
Well, thank you, Connor. It's greatly appreciated for you to come on.
Good night, Dad.
Oh my
Good night,
God.
baby.
Connor.
Night. Have a good night.
You too, guys. Night, y'all.
Night. All right, so we'll move on to No Way Jose versus Cesaro. I stepped away. Go ahead. I didn't even fucking see this because I do not fucking care about fucking No Way Jose. Go ahead.
I'd rather get smallpox than watch No
Me
Way
too.
Jose.
On my dick.
I think
It
that's
wasn't a match. Yeah,
I
it
think
wasn't a
he's paying
match.
attention to Twitter on this one, so I have no idea.
So what the
It
fuck
wasn't a
happened?
match.
So Nobody
Okay,
came
so
out, did his
basically-
conga line.
Hold on, Heather's got it. Go ahead.
Nobody Jose came out, did his conga line. Cesaro jumped out of the ring, beat the shit out of him, and then that was it.
Okay, so moving on to the next fucking thing.
Noah Jose should be in the unemployment line.
So what are they doing with Cesaro? Are they pushing
They're
him?
turning into a faction, I thought.
It seems like they're pushing him because he's been a lot more aggressive lately, and they've been kind of showing his more aggressive side. And usually they only do that with people that they're gonna push. But I don't know.
Here's
We'll
my
see.
thing. Here's my thing. I get it. They're gonna start doing this, and I've seen them do this before, where they're gonna, oh well, I feel sorry for this guy, so we're gonna give him a push, and it never fucking works. Look at Kofi Kingston. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that WWE feels sorry for him. I'm just saying these guys that they've given us, and this is why I think that you'll never see R-Truth get that push, because I hate to say this, and I think I just see it. Kofi Kingston is failing as a champion right now. He is boring the shit out of me. Like,
There was a
when he
move
comes
to
on,
begun.
I just sit there like this and like, God, I just want this segment to end. I'm sorry, he is boring the fuck out of me.
His title run needs to transition to an implosion of the New Day, otherwise it won't have any of the weight that it needs to continue.
Yeah, and with
He-
Cesaro, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say he should have lost the title a long time ago, but he
I agree.
needs to lose the title next week. Sorry.
Go
ahead.
But I think with Cesaro, I like Cesaro. Oh, first of all, I don't think that there's anybody on this call that can argue the fact that Cesaro is an incredible athlete.
He sucks. He's terrible. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Kidding? I was gonna say, oh my god, I'm gonna slap you.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, I like Cesaro. His in ring is up there.
But I think that he had the momentum before he got put with Sheamus, and by putting him in a tag team with Sheamus, now don't get me wrong, the tag team was great,
Mm-hmm.
and they did what they did great, but by putting him in that tag team, he lost the momentum that he had as an independent wrestler. So I think it's going to take a little while to get that momentum back, and I think that's why they're pushing him to be as aggressive as what he has been.
The problem with Cesaro is he speaks 5 languages and none of them convincingly on the mic.
Right.
Like-
That's the only problem that I have with Cesaro, really, to be honest with you. And I agree with Basement 100%. You're never going to change my mind. Ever. Don't ever put the title on him. He was the United States champion and it failed.
I mean, I could see like the 24/7 title or something like that.
That's
No-
terrible. that's like that is
He's above
that
that.
sentence.
He's above
Yeah.
that.
Well, he's above that, but he's not at mid card level for the U.S. title.
The thing is, once he
No,
has
he
the
is.
title, he
No,
can't.
I-
he
what I'm
can't
saying-
run
what I'm
a
s-
segment.
What I'm saying is his U.S. title run wasn't that great.
Right, and I agree
I'm not
with
saying,
you.
but that was like his first run in the company, though. See, he's gotten better since then.
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
now would be a good time for him to hold the IC or the U.S. title.
Well, and the thing is, any other company, he would be a great champion. But in
He doesn't
WWE,
have the charisma.
that's what I was going to say. Like WWE, you have to have so much charisma, and your promo skills have to be there, and they have to be on par
Mhm.
because it's heavily focused on entertainment. So I don't know.
We'll see. Anybody else want to add anything to that?
Bob and I were talking about this before we got on the call. We've talked about this in one of the chats and stuff that when it comes to the bar, people keep saying Sheamus is coming back, Sheamus is coming back, that he was supposedly coming back this week. What was said was that he's in good shape and he could come back anytime. What I've been saying is, and Bob and I were talking about this before, the longer it comes in between the times we see Sheamus, the more likely he's done.
And you know what? I would be okay with that. I love Sheamus as a competitor. I think that he's just an overall great competitor. However, my mom has spinal stenosis, and I know what that does to somebody. So the fact that he has been wrestling for as long as he has with spinal stenosis is incredible to me.
Now, can I ask this question? And I'm not trying to sound mean. Does he actually have spinal stenosis? Has that
He-
been diagnosed?
Yes,
Said he does.
yes, it's been diagnosed,
Because I've
and
never
he-
heard it come out of his fucking mouth. I've never heard
he was on a something that I was watching, and he was at the doctor, and they actually showed the X-rays and shit. He does have spinal stenosis.
Oh, he's a pussy. But anyway, I'm just kidding. No, I get it. I get it. I do. I get it.
Oh, spinal stenosis like fucks you up big time. Like I said,
Well,
my mom
I mean,
has
that's
it.
why Stone Cold Steve Austin had to retire as well. So
Yeah, so like I have so much respect for him for going as long as he did, because he was diagnosed like what, Trek, like 3-4 years ago already. So it's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah, but if
impressive.
he's gonna
that he-
come back to have like a tag run as the bar, I prefer him just to stay away.
I
Yeah.
think he's going to come back in about 12 years and he's going to face Goldberg.
Oh
gee.
God.
Like,
I'll
do you
lock
guys
her on the
hear?
pole match.
Real quick, I know this is kind of diverting from what we're talking about, but did you guys see Goldberg's tweet?
Yes, I did. I don't want to talk about fucking Goldberg. You want to piss me off even more?
Goldberg's a fucking hot pile of garbage.
He said that the only thing he's concerned with right now is redeeming himself after his last.
He'll never redeem himself, ever.
He should be
wants your
concerned
Benjamin
with
Button.
never wrestling again because the guy's a fucking pile of crap.
Fucking Us himself in a fucking door.
If you all don't
He
know what we're
disappeared
talking
backstage.
about, me and Basement actually went back and rewatched that match sober.
With you guys.
He had a match
And
against the Locker
We
before he
actually
came
watched it drunk, and we were really pissed off then. You should have seen us when we were sober. We
Like,
just
there was a
didn't- we
time
didn't-
frame where the fuck did the guy go? Like his entrance, they cut away from him to show him come into the ring, and he's gone for like a good minute.
Went through a
I
black
honestly
hole.
think he got dizzy and he had to like stop for a
I'm
second.
pretty sure he left the locker room and walked in the opposite direction.
Oh my god. So anyway, we're getting derailed here. So the next thing we see is a promo, and backstage it's the Street Profits.
Nah.
Praise the Lord.
They're not. So I put on here, are they on Monday Night Raw? Question mark.
No.
No, they are not going to be on Monday Night Raw. I know people are like, oh, what are they going to do with the Street Profits? They just won the NXT titles. They brought them up for the exact same reason. I think we already mentioned it. They're going after the teenagers. The Street Profits can probably hit that market. I don't know what WWE. I hate the Street Profits.
And not
Their
only
segments
that,
were
but I think
cringy as fuck, man.
Yeah.
yeah, they were. But I think that they're trying to shine a little bit more light on NXT because, like, okay, we've talked about this before. Okay, like people like my uncle, he doesn't have the network. So if you don't have the network, you don't see NXT. So a lot of people don't even realize that NXT is like a product.
Do you know who I think if they were going to do something like that, you know who I would prefer they did that with? Adam fucking
Cole. Yeah.
Baby.
But I think they want to kind of, even though he was in the Rumble and stuff, I think they kind of want to save the Undisputed Era for an actual debut. I didn't like these segments at all. I thought they didn't even need to be on the show. They didn't add anything. The segments were cringy as fuck. They weren't saying anything of any value. They were just like, yeah, NXT champs, baby, we're here Raw.
Yeah, I was annoying as fuck. I can't stand the Street Profits, and
And then at one point in time, one of them started singing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
I don't think the Undisputed Era is going to be together for much longer.
I hope they are because I think it helps every single one of them.
Right, but the thing is,
Adam Cole doesn't need them.
The only reason I say it helps every single one of them is Adam Cole's an undersized main eventer, so having him come in with help kind of helps that because WWE. Let's not kid ourselves. If you're not fucking either, if you haven't been there for a while, or you're not 6'3" and jacked to all hell, you're not going to really be the guy they're looking at.
No, I
the
understand
thing
that.
is, I don't see them staying together very much longer just simply because I see Adam Cole getting called up, but I don't see the tag team getting called up.
No,
Roger Strong should get called up at the exact same time as Adam Cole in my mind. He's
I
way
think
past it.
we'll talk about. I'll tell you. I've said this. This is what I think's going to happen. Do you know how they're always saying we will hold every single title? I think Adam Cole is going to have the title. I don't know when they're going to do it, but I'm not saying it's going to happen at SummerSlam. I think it might happen at NXT TakeOver, wherever Survivor Series is. I think what's going to happen is at first it's going to be the tag team champions. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are going to win a tag team titles. Then, probably at Survivor Series, Roderick Strong will win the North American title. Adam Cole will lose his title to whoever, and I can't remember who I said. Matt Riddle.
Yes.
Survivor Series. And then they're going to beat the shit out of Adam Cole, and they're going to kick him out of Undisputed Era, and they're going to call him up. That's what I see happening.
But
I
I
mean,
feel
that
like if
makes a
they
lot
kick
of
him
sense.
out, but I feel like if they kick him out of Undisputed Era, then there's an untold story there in NXT of a redemption song for Adam Cole. So I don't
Not
see.
necessarily, because if you think about it, they did the exact same thing to Adam Cole in fucking New Japan. They killed him on being the elite. They
But
literally
NXT
killed him.
But NXT then has like a story ripe for the picking for a next takeover of his redemption, and to just throw that away and say it's called up, even though he got his ass kicked, he's gone now forever.
Yeah,
And that would
but
probably happen at the end of
redemption-
Takeover. I mean,
But that redemption story could always carry on up to Raw or SmackDown on the main title as soon as Roderick Strong gets called up.
what story is carried over from NXT to the main?
They're
Well,
good.
Lacey Evans.
Oh, okay, she's not even a person to me.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think that with I think Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff get it. We're gonna do story continuity. By then,
I have to
think
see
they'll-
it first.
I
before
agree. I agree.
I
That's a dream scenario for me, but it could become reality because of who they have and what's supposed to happen when Bischoff and Heyman take over. They have control of the show. Vince
Yeah.
don't.
Sure about Eric Bischoff, but I did read that Paul Heyman wants to focus a lot more on long-term storytelling.
We'll see. We'll see though, and I'm hoping that he does. I don't want them because the problem that I have with the long-term storytelling is the retention. Will people get bored with it?
The
Because
problem
you
I have is
see- Go ahead.
I have huge skepticism with WWE promising anything.
You're right.
They promised so
I'm
much
with
in the
you, man.
past, and they
I'm
shit
with
the
you.
bed constantly, or they
I'm
do
with
half measures, and they do a soft launch and just shit all over themselves.
I'm with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying what I think that they could do if they do it right. Anybody else want to add anything to the Street Profits that need to go back down to NXT and stay the fuck there?
The funniest thing about that whole thing was, I think it was on Twitter, on YouTube, WWE botched actually called them the AEW Tag Team Champions.
Oh, that was a typo.
I
Bad typo.
It was bad.
Is it really bad that I call them Crime Time because they remind me so much of
No,
Crime Time?
no.
No, I
And
see that.
no,
we said
to
that.
anybody out there, it has nothing to do with their race or anything like that. It's just they're both party, like their gimmicks are party people.
Yep, they
Yeah.
act like Crime Time. They do.
I do
I
that
keep on
work.
waiting for them to break out, going money, money, yeah, yeah.
I know, right? Trek, go ahead.
No, that's what I had to say. It's like I call them crime. We call them Crime Time 2.0 at work.
Oh, okay. You're actually allowed to talk at work? Anyway, just kidding. So the Miz came. Sorry. So the Miz came out as an act. He did a promo. They went to a commercial. They came back. Miz did a promo. I didn't even hear it because I think I was taking care of Wendy at the time. So somebody want to go ahead and take this one, or did nobody see it?
I was zoned out at this time.
Well,
so.
it was just building to the Miz versus Elias, which happens later on in the fucking show.
Oh,
Miz
yeah,
is dead.
that
Miz is
it was just a bunch of like him running his mouth saying that like Shane McMahon is gonna die through him or whatever. I don't know. I don't fucking care. Like it was just ridiculous.
All right.
The Miz is dead, man. His heyday ended long ago.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I've had high hopes for him, and I think even with what you said, Gina, I get it that he's there. He just wants to have fun. They need to stop. But the only reason they're keeping him around is because of the Miz and Mrs. That sucks. That sucks.
That excellent show.
Actually, I don't mind it.
No, just shut up.
It's kind of a funny show.
Oh my god! I hate everybody.
Funny Basement. What's wrong with you?
It's reality TV, and reality TV can eat my ass.
No, the only thing that makes that show funny is her mom.
That's why I think it's funny.
Her mom is fucking hilarious.
But the baby itself, there's a couple of moments where I acted just like the fucking Miz.
Oh,
like
God.
telling Wendy to shut up and be quiet and looks at me and starts laughing and shit. Yeah, that's happened to me a couple of times. But
I would rather eat a shotgun.
I understand. You don't have to. It's just I haven't watched it, but what I've seen of it, it's funny.
Basement, I'm gonna come up to Canada and I'm gonna like handcuff you and I'm gonna force you to watch like a marathon of fucking Real World Rules Challenge.
This is how it ends.
So then they went to another commercial, I think. I'm not sure. I don't remember. And Shane McMahon and Drew came out and they did a recap of last Monday with the beatdown of Roman, and The Undertaker comes out.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, yeah. And
Fast forward to 3 weeks later.
To Drew, and Undertaker says Roman didn't ask for his help. He says that they will never rest in peace. And that's essentially what he said. He's like, I take care of the lost souls.
You're speaking way too fast, first of all.
I kind of heard a different version of that promo.
Gonna have to.
Okay, the version I heard was, Roman Reigns didn't ask me to fuck him in the ass. I just did anyway. Rest in jizz.
Oh, but yeah,
still talking too fast.
I know the Undertaker did say that whenever he takes their souls, they will never rest in peace. They'll be in purgatory, I think he said.
Yes.
He said a lot of shit. He said it really slow.
He did. I'm sorry, I speak faster than fucking Undertaker because I'm gonna have to. But
he's the walking DMV.
Gina, you were gonna say something. Go ahead.
I don't remember what the fuck I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
It took for fucking ever. First of all, for what he was gonna say, and second of all, when it was over, the next match was coming down the ring before he was even out of the fucking ring. So, I mean, he wasn't even off clamp yet. It's like, does this guy? Does he need a fucking walker? Like, somebody give him a walker.
While I was watching sorry, Heather, go ahead.
They went to a promo with Baron Corbin and fucking Lacey Evans that lasted 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh yeah. And Undertaker.
And he was still walking up the ramp when they were done.
I feel like he has early onset Alzheimer's the way he talks. Well,
chances are during the promo he was probably like greeting fans or something a little bit, and stuff. But even still, I'm sitting there going, does he need a fucking walker to get back? Like, what?
I said it to these guys. He needs one of those fucking chairs that disabled people use to get to the top floor to take him back to the ring.
He just needs that rascal that they had in fucking Sick Grandpa or whatever the fuck it was. The fucking Johnny Knoxville movie.
He drives the rascal up the stairs and then he just puts his fucking arm up and drives off into the night. Goes to Walmart to buy defense.
Flag on the back, waving back and forth. We have some sick fucks here, I guess. But
back to Shady Oaks retirement home.
So with the Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans promo, I mean, I thought that
looked like
was
a
over.
porno. I'm not gonna lie.
Were you waiting for somebody to say something about the Deep Six?
Seriously.
Give her the Deep Six.
Lacey said that, and I didn't even catch. I think she did most of the talking. Lacey telling Seth that he should have never put faith in the man, and that's all I caught out of that whole fucking thing.
Basically, Baron Corbin did most of the talking, and then when she took over, she basically just said exactly what you just said. He shouldn't have put faith in the man, and then she said something about he should have put faith in the lady, or when there's a lady around or something like that, pointing to herself. I don't know. She looked like a fucking hooker, and Baron Corbin looked like he was about ready to give her, $500. So
okay. For a good time or what?
Pretty sure it was shot on his iPhone too.
It was so bad, like basement jokes. But I literally was sitting there waiting for like him to say something about the Deep Six. Like
The segment was
that
produced
would've
by
made
Bang
me
Bros.
sleep. It was bad. It was just bad.
But yeah, I mean, I like Lacey Evans. I think she has tons of talent. Her gimmick is wrong. They're booking her wrong. She should be a badass. She should have beaten Becky Lynch the first time she wrestled her.
I'm not a big fan of Lacey Evans.
Well, it's because of how they booked her. I can tell you that right now. If they had her come out and be a badass like she is, she's a former fucking Marine, and they have her act like fucking Scarlett O'Hara on fucking Gone with the Wind.
Get up, you brute.
But that's just me, though. I think that they should have her playing a different character, like Sergeant Slaughter type character.
You put Lacey Evans, which I consider just boring, and Baron Corbin, which I consider like the epitome of boring, together in like a porn movie, I'd watch it.
I mean, look, I said this on Twitter the other day, and it's, you can say no, you're wrong, but how can I be?
You're wrong.
Shut up. So he is a heel. He is doing heelish type things. Is he bad at it? I'm sure he is. But people are booing him. Listen, people are booing him, and it's getting. And this is WWE's thinking. His heel heat is go away heat. Who could I compare him to as going away heat back in the 80s and 90s when Hulk Hogan was there? I can't even think. Heather's not even helping me here. I said it the other day.
Jake the Snake Roberts.
No, Jake the Snake Roberts is a fantastic fucking heel. But let's go away heel heat. But is he still being a heel? You want him to get the fuck off your TV, so he's doing his fucking job.
Well, if his job is for people never want to see him, then yeah, he's doing his job.
That's essentially what I hear on Twitter is, I don't want to see him on TV. Then he's doing his fucking job.
Exactly.
I don't know why you'd want somebody to have that job. It's like, what we want is to never see you again, because we're not interested in your character. We're not interested in your in-ring work. We're not interested in anything about you. I've done my job.
If you have that, people don't say that though.
I'm saying that.
I think he's a great finisher. I think he has some good moves.
I think he's got a pool of good moves. There's a better spot for him character-wise than what he's currently
They need
doing.
to get him back to the Lone Wolf character.
His entrance doesn't make sense. It's like, it's such a cool entrance, and then he comes out fucking serving hors d'oeuvres.
I agree. That they need to go. They need to get away from. They need to get away from it. I can't. I can't get behind it. I wish they would go back to the Lone Wolf gimmick type deal thing, but then it wouldn't make sense for him to rely on Lacey Evans.
No. They were just thrown together because, I think. But.
To get, yeah, well, So then we get a Lacey Evans versus Natalya match. This match lasted, I don't even fucking know how long. Lacey Evans ends up winning with the women's right, and then because of Baron Corbin's interference. Yeah.
I'm going
What
to do
happened
the
after
exact same thing I did during this match when I first watched it and go to the washroom.
that? What happened after? Didn't Seth and no, they didn't come out.
No.
So that was the end of that, which it probably would have ensued. Probably should have had Becky and Seth come out. I mean, fuck, they had fucking AJ Styles and fucking Ricochet facing off 500 times in a fucking month. So might as well have them two teams face off or whatever, because they're having a match at Extreme Rules. It's an Extreme Rules match, winner take all. Becky's been in a lot of winner take all matches. Hopefully she loses this one. I'm getting sick of her. And that whole fucking promo, which is coming up after the Miz versus Elias. 2 out of 3 falls. Miz wins the first fall. Elias wins the second fall. Miz wins the third fall with a figure 4. Moving on. I'm so sick of the 2 out of 3 matches. And this was all the reason that they're doing this 2 out of 3s is just to get fucking commercials in.
And I'm sorry, Heather.
Michael Cole fucking telegraphed that there was
Yep.
going to end up being even because he sat there. We will take a break after the second fall.
Yep, exactly. That's what I was just gonna say too.
Right. So then they go to a commercial after the match, come back. Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are the promo. I am just going to let Gina. What did Becky say? Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, she just like looked like a complete fucking moron, like ticking the entire time that she was doing this thing with. I don't even remember what the fuck her and Seth said. All I remember was that she looked like she had a nervous tick, and she looked like she was mentally retarded, and then she was doing all this like sexual innuendo towards Seth, and he looked like he was super uncomfortable. It was all sorts of fucked up.
It was terrible.
It was
she looked
all
like she
sorts
was
of fucked up.
acting
It was like,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
No, at basement, what were you going to say?
Like she looked like she was acting in like a fucking grade 9 drama skit. It was that
Exactly. Exactly. And, she was all like trying to grab Seth's ass. And it was sexual harassment to the T, which is right then and there where I started with like getting kind of irritated with the double standards.
Mm-hmm.
But then here comes Mike and Maria Kanellis, and the promo goes back and forth or whatever. Maria says, "You bring I have my bitch. You bring your bitch. Let's settle this in the ring." I was fucking fuming when that happened because the double standards within that entire promo was just. I couldn't even put it into words, because if this would have happened with a man saying that to a woman, like if Mike would have said that about Maria, everybody would have fucking had they would have had a meltdown. But since it was a woman saying it about a man, it's okay? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I get it. I didn't look at it like that. I'm sorry.
I probably wouldn't have been as pissed. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just go ahead and finish what you're gonna say, because what I'm about to fucking say is probably the sentiment of fucking a lot of people. But go ahead.
Well, it wouldn't have bothered me so much if, like, when they were coming out to the ring, if they wouldn't have had Renee go, "Oh yeah, women's rights and all this shit." Don't get me wrong, I'm a proponent for women's rights. I'm a fucking woman, okay? But more than that, I am, and I think Heather can agree with me here, I am a proponent for equal rights, and I am so sick and tired of this new age feminist bullshit. Like, get the fuck out of here with this shit. I'm just fed up with it. So it pissed me off.
I understand. I'm gonna say this. This is why I don't like fucking relationships. Should not be storyline.
Real relationships.
Agreed.
That's what I'm saying. Real relationships should not be storyline, because you see the fucking bullshit. And this is why that's why I didn't have a problem with them calling their husbands a bitch, because they're married. So And here's another thing. Is the reason why I wasn't mad about it is they know what's going to be said. So if they have a problem with it, they need to say something. I'm pretty sure. And everybody's like, well, Vince McMahon. Well, Vince McMahon, I mean, come on. He's not going to fucking force somebody to fucking do something that he wouldn't fucking do. So if somebody's uncomfortable with something, I'm pretty sure, because it's Better Business Bureau would be down his ass if he got a complaint saying, I mean, this is why I don't fucking buy half the fucking shit that people say about Vince McMahon. Because go ahead.
I'm sorry?
No, I was just gonna say that's why I don't buy half the shit that people say about Vince McMahon with some of the sexist segments. Because if that's the case, the Better Business Bureau would have gotten involved. If a talent has problem with Vince McMahon and the way he is booking the shows, all they have to do is go to the Better Business Bureau and say, yeah, he's doing this. They would investigate it, and then Vince would be in trouble. So for people to say that shit just drives me fucking up the wall. It drives me nuts.
It's obvious that both couples were more than comfortable with what they were doing. They're both comfortable in their relationships and everything. It's just me personally, I don't like using marriage or pregnancy in a negative aspect. Like, okay, now we know that Maria is actually pregnant, right? So, okay, fine. That changes my viewpoint on it a little bit, because I was angry at first because I thought that they were going to take like 15 steps back and go back to like the Lita angle, where she's pregnant and she had a miscarriage. And that pissed me off. Like, the aspect of that happening again pissed me off.
Vince has stated he would never go back to that bullshit.
Good. That makes me happy.
The thing I don't like about the segment, I think, like the combining of Becky and Seth is a time bomb, because their segments aren't great together. Their chemistry on screen isn't great together, I don't think.
Right.
And it's what they're doing with them together is detrimental to each of them as individual talents.
Yep.
Well, and I think that Becky is she's very awkward. She always has been. Basically, you and I were talking about this. Yes. She's cringy and she's awkward, and Seth is kind of more of the relaxed talent, but when you put those two together, they don't mesh.
Yep.
I don't want like a real life storyline to impact. Like, if all they did a great job of building believable kayfabe in the beginning of the show, and this segment is the exact opposite. It's instead of kayfabe, it's taking a real life storyline and putting it into wrestling. But you're looking at a relationship that is boyfriend and girlfriend. If that implodes, they have to continue doing this shit together. It's like,
which you have seen before.
But I mean, in general, the whole segment just pissed me off, mainly just because of the double standards that I saw present in it. And I know that, like, I'm a girl, I should have been happy about it, but I'm not happy about that shit, because it's not portraying most females in a very positive aspect, because most people think that most females these days are like these fucking feminazi assholes that are out there wearing vaginas on their head. Well, guess what? We're not.
They aren't? I mean, Twitter tells me so. But, I'm just kidding. So we actually get to the match. So there's a challenge. As Gina said, Maria said, bring your bitch, I'll bring mine, and we'll have a match. So they started wrestling. Now, I didn't see the match. I mean, how long did Seth and Mike Bennett, how long were they in the
Not match? Long at all. Like, I literally blinked and it was like done.
Match was short. Match was shit. There was a moment in that match where Becky went to attack Maria, and she's like, "I'm pregnant." And
no,
then
that's
Becky,
where I was
like,
going to get to, because then I looked up.
Shit.
And then I looked up. That's when I looked up when she said, "I'm pregnant." I'm like, what? And that's where I thought, oh my God, they're going to fucking do this. But
the match lasted like 30 seconds before Seth pinned him, because that's when Maria started going off on him.
Right, and that's where I'm going. Maria cut a promo, and she said, "I'm pregnant," and then it made it sound like they're having home problems, and again, this is why I don't like fucking real life. I don't think it is real life. I think Maria and Mike are
Perfect.
They're pretty
happy.
solid.
Yeah.
And their sex life sucks because she said, and this is probably what pissed Gina off even more, because she said, I don't even know how you could get me pregnant. Maybe Becky should have gotten me pregnant. Maybe I should ask Becky to impregnate me next time. Which, to me, was kind of funny because it's a pot shot at the stupid fucking the man gimmick.
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
mean, looking back at it now, I honestly
hated
don't
every second
understand.
of it.
Like, I don't understand why I got so as angry as I did, but yet I can understand because, like I said, they're pushing this feminism angle down everybody's throat, no matter where you're turning now, and I just didn't need to see it in wrestling.
Well, I mean, I agree with you there. What I didn't like about the segment is, if we're gonna go off and say Paul Heyman's focusing on long-term booking and she's actually pregnant, the segment was so heavily Mike and Maria. It did nothing for anybody else in my mind. But if you don't pursue that, like, what the fuck was the whole? What was this? As a waste of time then.
Yeah,
Right.
I did not care for it. I mean, if it was Mike and Maria, which it was a Mike and Maria segment, why in the fuck do you have your 2 world champions out there in this?
Yeah,
fucking
like
shit?
it's such a fuck up of booking in my mind. I just hated everything about it.
The only thing that I could see them possibly doing with this angle would be like, because Maria, obviously, she went off on Mike. So I could see them doing an angle where like Mike is trying to, like, desperately trying to please her. So like he keeps on match after match after match, and she's just not pleased, and it keeps on going, you know, and she keeps on like belittling him like she did. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to fucking keep on seeing that shit. I
No,
don't.
because like the end of that story would be he fucking punches her in the face.
Right.
Otherwise, there's no payoff.
That's what
It's like,
everybody would
eventually
want
he
to
wins
see,
a-
but that's not what's going to happen. It's going to
Eventually, he
end
wins
up
a
being
match and she accepts him, and
she's
it's like, who wants to see that?
she
Yeah.
is going to end up nutting him or something to that effect, then walking away, which makes, because the feminists, and I'm sorry, and I'm not talking about you or Heather here, the feminists of today would be like, that was a great fucking segment. He just fucking got
Yeah.
his ass beat by a fucking woman. I can tell you right fucking now, people, the women that wrestle today, if they were to go up against the men in real life, I guarantee fucking to you they would get their ass handed to them. So don't fucking at me. Probably the only other fucking person that could probably fight the men would be Ronda Rousey. I think she could fight a couple of these guys. But don't
Nia
sit there and
Jax?
fucking tell me that
Nia
Becky
Jax,
Lynch.
yeah.
Don't sit there and tell me that fucking Becky Lynch could beat up Baron Corbin. Shut the fuck up. He outweighs her by 150 fucking pounds. Don't feed me
And,
that
I
line
mean,
of bullshit.
The way I look at that segment, though, it was really just like an example of like one of the most abusive relationships you could think of.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, it's like that's not a good thing, especially if your target is like kids or teenagers. That is not a good thing to be portraying, which I understand. I'm one of
It's
the
all
proponents that
kayfabe.
was.
I mean, it can be
I'm
ridiculous.
one of the proponents that was like, get rid of the PG era. So I'm not going to sit there and bitch about that, but I will sit there and kind of bitch about this whole feminism angle, because the way that they portrayed both Becky and Maria in that like segment, to me, did not make them look
Well,
good at
what they
all.
did
Like
is-
it portrayed them in a negative light.
what they did is they portrayed the women as the misogynistic man.
Yes.
And I'm like, again, it's wrestling, man. Fuck, I'm okay with anything that they do, but I just don't see a long-term angle to that. And they also involve like 2 of the main champions. I don't think there's like, I think it was just a throwaway segment that lasted too long. That was just overtly cringy.
Yes.
And I think another reason why it pissed me off so much is just because like the world in general is just pissing me off really bad right now, because there's a bunch of fucking crybabies out there that need to fucking grow up.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. We'll talk.
No,
about
I mean,
that
it's just
more.
in general, like
Oh.
women, everything, like just fucking grow up and
Yeah,
stop.
I was
It's better
arguing.
than- but
I was arguing
Anyway.
with a fucking woman today about fucking Lacey Evans. But anyway, next segment, I think they went to a commercial after that. Paul Heyman come out, did his spiel. He got a huge pop. I will say that.
Well, they also yelled. I remember cheering "Thank you, Heyman" after the original spot at
Yes.
the stage, right?
That, apparently the crowd was counting up to 10.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but whatever. It didn't. I didn't pay any attention to that. But Paul Heyman came up backstage and started talking about Brock Lesnar. Is he here or isn't he here? They're still telling that story. Of course, he wasn't there. And then the Street Profits come over and again get these
Terrible.
guys. I'm gonna tell you right now. Get rid of these guys. They suck. They're terrible. They
I
may
see
be able to
potential in
wrestle
them, but they
or
need to live in
separate
NXT
them
for a long
because
time.
together they're horrible. I can't watch them. I did not want them winning the NXT tag team titles in the first place. And if you all like these guys, that's fine, but don't sit there and say, "Oh, come on, JP." No, they suck.
I will tell you one thing: if you're in a segment with Paul Heyman and it falls flat, you've got a problem.
That segment sucked. Bad.
Paul Heyman's like, "I'm gonna go over here because that's what I want to do." It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You look like a baked
I'm
potato.
a busy man. He kind of did that "I'm a busy man" kind of wink thing. Because he's learning from Vince, which I don't know why he needs to, but whatever. So the next segment, I think they went to another commercial. I'm not sure, or no. Yeah, they did. They did a moment of bliss. They had Nikki Cross backstage. She's gonna come out and host because she was. This is Alexa Bliss trying to make Nikki Cross feel comfortable with her. And her special guest was Carmella, so they came out, and apparently all these women are trying to convince Nikki Cross to realize, and I don't understand this. I get what they're doing. I know where this is going. It's gonna essentially lead to Nikki Cross beating the fuck out of Alexa Bliss. I hope. And I don't know. Alexa Bliss retiring from wrestling? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But all I know is they got a moment of bliss, and Nikki Cross had a special guest in Carmella. Carmella said something, and Nikki Cross said, "I'm gonna face you in a match." Now there was it during this moment of bliss, she was talking really slow, and she goes, "As you go ahead, Heather."
That was on SmackDown.
That was on SmackDown. Okay, we'll talk about that in a little bit then. Because we're almost done. No, it's fine. So Carmella challenged her to a match, or was it Nikki Cross?
Carmella
Alexa.
challenged Alexa Bliss to the match first.
Yep.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's right. And then Alexa Bliss came out. Alexa Bliss gets pinned in the Baron Corbin of roll-ups. It was a quick, 5-second match?
Yep.
So then Nikki Cross gets in the ring, and she beats Carmella. So they're telling this story that, and Bayley said it the next night, they're having Nikki do Alexa's dirty work, or hard work, or whatever.
Dirty work.
So, yeah. Yeah. I pretty much told Renee to sit the fuck down at this point. Because she was standing up, but I don't remember what she was doing. It wasn't because of what she was wearing, it's because of what she did. She said something, I'm like, this woman needs to sit the fuck down. Get Renee off the fucking announcer. If she's going to announce what Michael Cole does, have her do that, but do not have her as a color analyst. She is fucking terrible. I am sorry.
She is. She's boring as fuck.
Anybody else?
Agreed.
I really don't care about the segment at all. I like.
Yeah,
Alexa Bliss is dead in the water for me a long time ago.
Yep. I know Bob probably fucking loved it because it's Alexa Bliss, and I'm still trying to figure out why in the fuck he likes her.
She's an attractive woman, but that's her.
It was the best segment on Raw.
It was. So the beginning of the show sucked. Doesn't hold a candle.
No. Okay. Let me correct myself. Second best.
I think that this was probably like the 10th best thing on the show.
No, because it's got Alexa.
Do you want me to hang up on you? But anyway,
I'm
so
surprised you haven't all already.
well, you haven't said anything dumb yet. You just now started to. Renee, I don't remember why I told Renee to sit the fuck down because I can't remember what she said, but she said something, and I'm like, God damn. This one, I think it was I don't think she can decide whether or not she's a heel or a face. Like, she'll say something, and she'll be like, well, I think Alexa Bliss deserves something. And then the next minute, she's like, well, Seth Rollins is the shit. What the fuck are you? Fucking weirdo. So then we get to the main event, and this is Gina's favorite part of the show, I'm assuming, besides the beginning. AJ versus Ricochet. Now, I don't know all these fucking wrestling moves. I just watch wrestling, and I know what a good wrestler looks like. So I'm not going to sit here and say, well, AJ Styles did a backflip and then did a phenomenal forearm, which he did do. Pinned Ricochet, but Ricochet's legs were underneath the table. Here's a problem that I have with this match.
Yes.
Here's where I have a problem with WWE. They, in certain situations, and I understand why they do it, so you don't have to explain it to me, but I don't understand, why does a referee have to come out and know his legs were under there when they don't do it for other matches?
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing.
I don't understand the logic behind that, and I'm with Basement's probably, well, this is part of the problem with WWE. This has always been the problem with WWE. They only do it in certain situations.
Consistency.
Yes. There's so much inconsistency in their and logic gaps in their storytelling and in their matches that just don't make any sense.
One thing I really didn't like about this anyway is his leg was under the rope, but it wasn't purposeful. Like, he basically lost the match. His leg just ended up there by happenstance.
No,
it wasn't like his leg was
it wasn't.
going for the rope.
He put his leg. He moved his leg underneath the rope.
I don't know, man. It looked like when he got like pinned, his leg just ended up there.
Yeah, it
No.
did. It did.
No, it
But-
didn't. Because
No,
watch
no,
it back.
no,
Because
no,
he literally
It
moved his leg.
It looked that way, and I think that's what was supposed to happen.
But for me, it's like I feel like his leg should. I feel like if you're gonna do a rope 2 count or whatever, then somebody should be obviously putting their leg on the rope. Otherwise, it looks like you pretty much lost, but now you get another chance because of your position.
Right. But anyway, so they ended up restarting the match, and the match went on for a good minute. AJ Styles ends up losing again. Or no, well, he loses. Yeah, he lost this time to Ricochet. Ellis and Anderson came out, so you knew it was going to happen then.
Yep.
And I even said it to Heather. I said they're going to do a heel turn. Next thing you know, Ricochet holds out his hand. Didn't he shake his hand and then turned away?
Yeah,
Shook his hand, turned away, looked at Gallows and Anderson, and then punched Ricochet, and then she beat the fuck out of him.
Oh God, yeah. That's what was it? The second rope Styles clash was.
Yes, and I did make mention of that, which I have not seen him do a full on. And I was actually talking to who was that? Was that you, Bob, at Trek?
Yeah, I think so.
We were talking about that, and everybody's like, "Oh no, it was Paige." I think it was my niece Paige. But either way, I've never seen him do a full on Styles clash like he did Monday night. He usually has that one arm free so the guy can put his you know what I mean? So he's not going face in. So he did a full on Styles clash. So they're letting these guys do their moves now.
And not only that, but he has never he hasn't done a second rope style clash since he was in New Japan.
Correct.
But I also feel like that's the beauty of him facing somebody that's that athletic.
Mm-hmm.
He can execute his full offense.
Well, and Ricochet is pretty bendy, so like he can pull off a lot.
He took it perfectly. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to tuck your head, keep it up an arch, and then let him land on you. You're
Yeah.
gonna hurt your stomach. You're gonna knock the wind, which is what the move does. It knocks the wind out of you.
Mhm.
So,
But I mean, I was super excited for this, and I was I was really excited for the heel turn, mainly after I saw that top rope Styles clash, because as you said, it was an actual Styles clash, and that signified to me, oh holy shit, they just let him do a move that he did in New Japan, so maybe they're actually gonna let them run with this.
stop with the New Japan stuff, Gina.
But you know what I mean? Like we haven't seen an aggressive, like really aggressive AJ Styles since he was in New Japan. So I'm hoping not that they
Well,
not
I'm
that
gonna disagree with you. When he first got to WWE, when he did that with John Cena, he was pretty aggressive.
He hit
aggressive,
harder
but
as a heel.
nowhere near what he did when he was in New Japan. I mean, come on.
I'm not saying in New Japan.
I don't think we're
but
ever gonna see.
You said he's.
New
I
Japan.
haven't seen him do this since New Japan. I will
No,
disagree with you and say he did it when he
Okay, but
first
that's
got.
not what I said. But that's not what I said. I said I haven't seen him be this aggressive since New Japan. Now he was aggressive with Cena, but not quite to that level.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think he was. He was pretty aggressive with John Cena.
I mean, Cena I could probably see because that they did get pretty fucking aggressive. But KJ was also a heel at that time too.
That's what. Yes, right. So I'm not. I wouldn't. But that's neither here nor there. Just we know that AJ Styles is a heel. No.
Yes, I've got my breath. Like I'm
I'm
not holding my breath, but I'm hoping that it's gonna go good.
I think they just need to go away from this whole babyface heel thing. I mean, you look at New Japan, fucking Chaos is a fucking heel faction, but yet half of them act like fucking babyfaces.
Chaos is no longer a heel faction.
Well,
Like,
they were. They used to.
90% of them are baby faces.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, though. It's a heel faction. If you look it up, it says they are a heel faction.
Yeah.
But half of them, or 90% of them, act like baby faces.
Yeah, they need to change that because Chaos is major baby face because like now they're the main competitors for like LIJ who are heels and also Bullet Club
But
who
half
are
of
heels.
them guys, again, still half of them guys, baby
Well,
faces.
You can't have full babyface or heel half the time in New Japan because the crowd doesn't clap or doesn't do anything.
Right.
Well, they're getting better. They are getting better.
Well, Japan, like I said, and I've said this before, Japan is a different culture. They sit on their hands. If they do what the fans in the United States do, they think it's disrespectful to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I know with like AJ Styles, I know it probably gets pretty annoying with like me saying, oh well, I haven't seen this since New Japan, but for me personally, the last time that I saw a really aggressive heel AJ Styles was in New Japan, which is the reason why I bring it up. It's not that I'm comparing WWE to New Japan. I know that WWE is not going to let him get away with a lot of shit that he did in New Japan. I'm just hoping that they let him get close.
I think they will. I don't think you'll see the fucking strong style that you've seen in New Japan, but they'll let him be aggressive.
But wouldn't that be amazing though if they let AJ, Anderson, and like even if they let Nakamura, if they let him actually do the strong style?
The thing is with Nakamura too, you take away the strong style and he loses so much luster, man.
Yeah.
He's a striker, and without the strong style striking, he's just.
Agreed. So, with the bookends were pretty good of the show. I mean, it weren't great, but the bookends, the beginning of the show was really good. I thought. I will agree with Connor that it is one of the best segments that I've seen in a very long time. We got a heel turn, which I would have much rather seen it at pay-per-view, but whatever. That's neither here nor there.
I'm okay with the heel turn taking place before pay-per-view. It kind of it can build towards it. It doesn't necessarily need to take place. But also, I'm not okay with them fighting before pay-per-view anyway. But whatever.
I agree. I can agree with that too. But What did you think of the show overall? I'm gonna go with Trek.
Overall, I thought it was decent. It was better than the last couple of Raws. We could have done without the whole Mike and Maria Kanellis. That would just made me cringe and roll my eyes. And I've seen people online say, "Oh, why did they do that with the club? They're not sticking around." For what I've heard, they did sign a new deal. They've agreed to the new deal. They just haven't signed it yet. Excuse me. So they're sticking around. So they wouldn't have done something like that. They weren't sticking around.
I made mention of that. I don't think they're going anywhere.
There's no, yeah, they're not going anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
Especially not if they.
If anything, Gallows and Anderson would go back to Japan. They would not go to AEW.
Right.
They're
Oh,
New
God, yeah,
Japan guys.
And not only that, but I think especially now that they're kind of letting them roll with this like kind of looser club thing, and you see Gallows and Anderson are starting to get, well, at least this week, we'll see if it continues, which I assume it will, but they're getting more TV time. Like, I mean, come on, you're making the money and you're getting TV time. Plus, you get to put together like pretty much a new version of the Bullet Club.
Correct.
Come on, man.
I mean, plus you're living in America.
And you get time, you get to be with your family and all that other shit. Like, there's no way they're not leaving anywhere.
No, they're not going to AEW, at least not for a while. Yeah.
To be quite honest,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead with Bobbitt, because my question didn't really have.
When we do our overall, you can say whatever. Just remember what you said. Bobbitt, go ahead.
Good episode. Better than it has been. Curious to see where it goes from here.
Okay. I like it. Basement.
I mean, I haven't watched Raw in a long time, and I tuned back in. I watched this Raw. An average, like, I still don't think it's a great show. It wasn't bad. There was a lot of hype around it being different because of the Paul Heyman thing, and outside of, I'd say, the first segment and I guess the callbacks to the first segment, I didn't see a huge amount of difference in the show. A bit more focused on wrestling, which I like. Raw was watchable, which is a difference. So I'll give them it was an okay show. It was an okay show.
Okay. Yeah, I when I grade, and I say this, I don't give it a 5-star or 4-star. Yeah, you can sit there and say, whatever. I do it based off excellent, great, good, okay,
or
bad.
man.
I would say it was middle of the road, okay, close to a bad, because even though that fucking first segment and the end segment, the end of the show, were pretty good, the whole rest of the show was pretty much formulaic in the same things that we've been seeing. And the Street Profits kind of fucking took me out of the fucking show, literally. I cannot stand listening to them too. They look like they what did I say? I said they're going to end up, if they ever bring them guys up, they're going to be nothing but a fucking comedy segment.
Yeah.
In fact, don't be surprised that if they do get called up, they're stuck with R-Truth running away from people with a 24/7 belt. Don't be surprised if they don't do a tag team 24/7 belt. Just saying. And then they're going to be fucking running around with fucking Red Solo Cup, and it's stupid.
I'm with you 100%. The first segment and the last, but everything in between was just same old garbage. It's so cringy, half of it.
Yep.
So, like, the Street Profits, 100% cringe. Becky and Seth, 100%. Maria and Mike, 100% cringe.
Yep.
It's just, ugh.
Yep. I mean, they could have built on what they did at the beginning of the show, but they just didn't do it. They waited until the end of the show to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know what, though? It worked because from what I hear, not the first hour, not even the second hour, but apparently the third hour of Raw, the ratings climbed up.
No, that was the point. But however, That's because they kept referring back to what happened.
Yep.
At the beginning of the show. And then you got that AJ Styles versus Ricochet, and then the heel turn, which was big.
Well, and I think that like throughout the show they were showing Gallows and Anderson going back and forth between the two. So I think that you could throughout the show you were kind of following that storyline. So if you're coming in, let's say the beginning of the third hour, and you're seeing this storyline unfolding and they're playing playbacks of it or whatever, and then all of a sudden you see they have a match, it's going to draw people in because they were hinting heavily at a heel turn.
Right.
But I also have to question like the idea of like ratings. Yeah, they might have climbed up in the third hour, but third hour takes place between 10 and 11 for me, right? So what else are people watching at that point?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you might climb up just because the alternatives have already ended.
Yeah.
Well, this is the last ditch effort to get the ratings up anyway, because a couple weeks ago Foley said, "Oh, it's gonna be gritty and we're gonna make it darker," and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that got thrown out the window after about 2 weeks when they said it wasn't working.
But you missed never mind. They shut all the lights off. That's what he meant by that. It had nothing to do with them being darker and grittier.
Yeah.
No, that's what Foley said in an interview.
I know that. I'm done with you. Anyway. So we're gonna go into SmackDown. It started out with Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre coming out again, first 10 minutes of the fucking show, sitting with the Kevin Owens show, and they announced that Roman and Taker versus Shane and Drew will be a no holds barred match. The one question that I have is Owens babyface?
I think that he might be kind of riding that line right now.
I think he's a heel, and he's just a frustrated heel.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and everybody's like, well, what are you talking about? Well, Dolph Ziggler came out, and he's like, the whole "it should have been me" thing, and Owens went off on him. If you haven't seen the video, and I'm not going to play it here, go to YouTube. It's there. I've seen it.
That best part of the fucking show right there.
It was. This is probably the best part of the show. What else happened?
Not much on SmackDown.
Yeah, no, this is the best part of the whole show. So, Owens and Ziggler must tag together to get a title opportunity because both of them are sitting there saying, both Dolph Ziggler and Kevin Owens are saying, well, I deserve a title shot. No, I deserve thing. You know, that whole fucking kid arguing thing?
Yeah.
And Shane McMahon said, neither of you do. You want a title shot? You must tag together and get a title opportunity against Heavy Machinery. If they win, they get a SmackDown Tag Team title shot in a triple threat match with the New Day and Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. So, yeah.
And Dolph Ziggler just needs to die.
I mean,
His
I
character
like
makes
Dolph
no
Ziggler,
sense.
but what they're doing with him right now, I don't like it. Like this whole whiny little bitch. I don't like it.
He's always
no
been a whiny.
sense.
He's always been a whiny little bitch.
You go from giving up a title to saying it should have been me? Like, what the
Right?
fuck?
Exactly.
I think
That's true. That's true.
And this is where I agree with a lot of people when they say they must think that we forget shit. Yeah, the casuals are forgetting shit, but the people like me and Basement, Gina, well, the debate's out there for Bob, but Trek, we get it. No, that makes no sense. With what Basement just said, why he gave up the U.S. title 8 months ago, and now he wants. He believes that he
Deserves
the WWE title.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Kevin Owens actually bring that up in his?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
he said 8 years ago it should have been you, it was you, and then it wasn't you, and your time is up. So
time is now.
that was his time is now. And I think he did say that too. I think he did say my time is now, and then that's when Shane McMahon said neither of you. Right? But they ended up, and that's the main event. They had a tag team title match against Heavy. I think that was the main event, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, what?
Tag team title match. So then didn't they go into another segment, or did they go to a commercial? I don't remember. So the New Day came out. Byron
Like, why
Saxton,
have two shows? Why have two shows if you're just gonna fucking do the same show over again?
No, right. But I don't even know what was said. But this is what I put down. This is what I put down in my notes, everybody. All right. Byron Saxton is a dumbass. What happened to commercial breaks not happening during matches? So they did the actual Daniel Bryan took on Big E in this match. That's what it was. And then they went to the picture-in-picture, and wasn't there something out there that said they weren't going to do commercials during matches anymore? Now,
Yes.
here's my thing. Why does SmackDown have the picture-in-picture and Raw doesn't? I do not understand that.
Well, that's
I don't either. That's why I was saying at work yesterday. I said I don't get why the fuck that this one does when Raw's the longer show. You would think they could use it more.
They probably didn't work it out with the actual network, like USA, to do that.
Okay.
Well, actually, what it was is it started when it was the whole sibling rivalry thing of Shane and Stephanie McMahon being the commissioners of Raw and SmackDown, and Shane implemented the picture-in-picture to make SmackDown the better show because you're not missing any of the action.
I think I remember that happening.
They probably did a trial run on the show that doesn't have the highest numbers for viewership to be like, yeah, it kind of still works. We're still getting the same thing or whatever.
Right.
I'm sure they have to run it by the net with the USA to say like, yeah, you can do this. But Raw is the way we make the most money, and you're probably getting paid more by like the commercial company to air commercials full than you are to air the picture-in-picture.
I don't remember what Byron Saxton did that I wrote down. He is a dumbass. He said, well, he's a dumbass.
Doesn't have to say or do anything because he's a fucking.
Well, he
pile
said
of
something,
shit.
and it was just a stupid fucking comment, and I can't remember what the fuck it was. I should have wrote it down. So I just wrote down Byron Saxton is a dumbass. So for all of you that don't know,
basically, he sucks the New Day's dick anytime he's out there.
oh, that's
so,
right. That's what he was
Yes.
doing. He was like, oh, I can't even remember what he said though. It was so fucking. I just wanted to punch him.
He is
because the New Day. I'm sorry.
Whitest. He's literally the whitest black man on this planet.
I said the exact same thing.
But with Byron Saxton, it's like the New Day had their own like announcement table. So
Yeah.
he's literally always like sucking their dick royally. It's just so retarded. I
Right.
mean, just
Yep.
put him over there with the New Day
Yep.
and make him shut up.
Right.
Just kill him, shotgun him right in the face. Old
I
Yeller
got
style.
you.
That's
Boy,
backstage.
you were just wanting to shoot people in the face today.
He's
Feel great.
angry.
Byron Saxton,
Angry.
I hate him. Put him out of his misery.
What did that gas do to you, basement?
Turned me into a real man.
So Daniel Bryan and Big E faced off in this match, and Daniel Bryan ended up winning. I didn't even fucking pay. I can't fucking stand Daniel Bryan. I'm sorry for all you fucking Daniel Bryan fans. I hate him as a heel. He looks like a hobo. Everybody. Oh my
With
god.
shotgun.
He was your WWE champion. He looked like a fucking hobo. Looked like he never showers. Looks like
He looks pretty. Yeah, he looks pretty clean.
my brother doesn't watch the show, so I'm gonna fucking say it. He looks like my fucking brother who doesn't fucking shower. Okay?
Your brother doesn't shower?
No.
He's a
Like,
full-on
was
hippie.
he
He's a
gone off
fucking-
showering? It's like
I love my
against
brother.
his-
He's a fucking hippie. I'll tell you what my brother did. So I was on Facebook today.
Tell
the
you what
other
he
day.
didn't do. Shower.
He didn't. He did a sweat ceremony. So it's 100 fucking degrees here, right? He started a fire, put a tent over the fire, and sat in that tent and sweat.
Oh
what the
my
fuck are
god.
you
Your brother's
doing?
an idiot. Like,
He
your brother's
can,
an
he
idiot.
can be. I love my brother, but it's like I even said, dude, what are you doing? You're gonna fucking die because you only weigh 135 fucking pounds. My brother's like 6'4", 145 pounds. It's like,
He's training to become the WWE champion.
He's into that. He's into that Hare Krishna bullshit. I think.
Does he like spend most of his days at the airport trying to like to join?
Where is the orange toga?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't do that. That's not that. But he's into that mantra bullshit.
It's Buddhism.
Buddhism, whatever the fuck you want to call it. No
Does he have hair?
disrespect to anybody that's a Buddha person.
A Buddhist.
A Buddha.
I love my brother, I do. So if he does end up watching this, man, I love you. But you worry me sometimes.
Shower.
You need to shower.
I'll
He
just
does.
shower.
I told him once, man. I'm like, dude, you just need to fucking shower. Like now, you're at a fucking goddamn wedding, for fuck's sake.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I've just emerged from my tent.
I've got pictures of it, so whatever. But no, I love my brother, so whatever. To each his own. I just don't want to fucking have to go to a funeral because my brother fucking burnt down in a tent that he was trying to sweat out in.
Right.
See, next thing we got another moment of bliss. The guest host
Well,
again was
hold
Nikki
on.
Cross. Go ahead.
Sorry, the most interesting thing that happened with the New Day segment though was the fight that broke out between all of them.
See, I saw that and I'm like, I didn't care. I could give a shit about the fucking New Day. To be honest with you, they're just an old gimmick to me. But they
Sounds
they aren't going anywhere because Vince thinks they're worth money. Well, they are worth money. They're bringing in the money.
Dude, hand over fist.
So yeah, I really didn't even watch the Daniel Bryan match because I'm not a fan of him. I just know that he beat Big E.
Gotcha.
And I know that they have a title shot which is why they had the match,
Mhm.
just to build matches to Extreme Rules.
Mhm.
The next thing we got was Moment of Bliss. Guest host was Nikki Cross again. Bailey was her guest, and she asked her the question, and I forgot what the question was. Oh, Bailey asked her the question: why is she doing Alexa's bidding? And then this is when Nikki flies off the handle and says,
I don't know
I
why
want
they're
to.
not fighting in that ring right now.
Yep. So she wanted to fight in that ring. But before that, and this was that segment, she's like, I know that I speak Scottish, and I don't know why, but I speak really slow so that you all can understand me. I'm like, shut
my
the
God.
fuck up.
If she
Real
speaks
quick.
like that, she speaks like one of those like deaf people.
Really quick, after this whole thing, did anybody happen to see Lance Storm's tweet?
Yes.
No, I did not. I'm sorry.
Oh
That
my
was
God.
amazing. He said that he wants I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
He said that after watching Nikki Cross's moment of bliss, he wants to go on a ride-along special with Nikki Cross.
And, have
And
her be
he
the
wants
navigator.
her, yes, he wants her to work the navigator. And she replied back to him. She replied back to him saying, "Oh, fun. You may not arrive alive."
We'll only be half alive by the time we arrive.
Yeah,
I replied on
exactly.
that tweet saying I had an image of Lance Storm hopping out of the car and kissing the ground.
I mean,
Being drunk.
Nikki Cross, her accent, I don't mind it because I can still understand her. But my God, she didn't need to talk that fucking slow. And I hope to God that fucking they did not tell her you need to talk slower. We want you to talk slower because of your accent. That's kind of fucked up.
She's Little Undertaker.
Little Undertaker.
Crap.
But that's how the fucking before I start, and it's like before I start, and then she'd like say a word like I'm dedicating, or she's like decide or decided or something. She's just her fucking language is all fucked up. She'd say a word and the fucking letter, which is supposed to be pronounced the same way, she would pronounce it a different way. It was just all fucked up. But whatever. I guess that's a Scottish accent.
I think that Drew McIntyre will disagree. But
It seems
Well, Drew
like
McIntyre
I'm
can
telling you,
talk.
man, she's deaf speaking.
Right. So Bailey versus Nikki happens. Bailey beats Nikki this time with a Bailey to belly. elaborate. What is this doing? Why did Nikki lose to Bailey this time?
Well,
And
yeah,
it's
but
a good thing. It's a good thing because Bailey is a champion.
But
go ahead.
didn't her losing to Bailey, like later on in the show, they actually say that they, instead of Alexa versus Bailey at Extreme Rules, they want Nikki to face Bailey after seeing her performance against her, and that's when Alexa like kind of she says no comment and she shoves Nikki.
Oh yeah. They did do that. Okay.
So I think that was the purpose of it, because like they used the whole, well, we seen what you could do, so we want to see it again angle.
Right. What's the deal with Ali?
He's supposed to be fighting for the people.
What people?
I love him. I love him.
Who's
The American people.
The American people. Okay.
The ones who are being bullied and stuff. He's the Dark Knight, pretty much.
Yeah.
What is he? Fucking Batman?
Yep. Kind of in that.
The reason why they used that angle with him was mainly not only because, you know, he is a Muslim and stuff, but because he used to be a police officer. So he said, like, he uses that as his kind of stepping stone, that like, hey, I used to protect and serve. I used to protect the people that were being bullied and all this stuff. So now I may not be a police officer anymore, but I'm going to do the same thing in WWE.
Okay.
Beat up black people?
God, Basement, that is not what all American police do.
Jesus Christ, dude!
No,
Well, the show's over. Thanks for coming.
I'm
We're not live, so. But anyway, I think I can you edit that out?
Joking. Holy
I
hell.
know you were. Anything that happens here is a joke, people. I do not condone that shit.
No, none of us do. Basement.
None of us
So
can.
the opinions expressed by Basement do not reflect that of the Cold Bone Show. So
We're gonna
We'll never
start every
speak
show with a
again.
warning.
no, I'm just kidding. You're fine, man. You're fine.
You're fine.
But I just didn't even watch that segment. I think I went to the bathroom. That just potty break for me. That was potty break for me. The next thing we got was Kofi and Samoa Joe in a face-off. We knew that coming into the show that them two were gonna cut a promo on each other. I would have rather saved this for the go-home show than having them do this here.
Agreed.
At the end of it, which made it even that much more better, which is another, hey, is Bischoff here kind of thing, Kofi flips Samoa Joe off.
Right, but they also blackout.
Well, they didn't live. They didn't. I seen it because
I was watching it live, and you could see the finger, but then like shortly after the finger, they went blackout for some odd reason for a second.
They didn't on our
It
end.
did.
didn't on my end.
That's weird, because like my end it did too, or it did.
Didn't on my end. I seen it was just like this.
They switched camera angles real quick, but they did not black out.
Yeah, they didn't black out. They just moved to a different camera angle.
thought it
But
was black.
you could see him doing this. So
Yeah, I thought it was a blackout because I was sitting there going, wait a minute, like they just literally let Corey Graves say holy shit, like how many times on Raw last night, but Kofi can't flip somebody off.
right.
I was like, what the fuck? But that makes sense now. All right.
It blacked out for me because on my feed it blacked out because I was like, what the hell happened?
Right.
Yeah, me too.
So
But anyway.
Basement. So if you didn't know, yes, they did do that segment, and that was all over Twitter. Yes, today actually. There's like, oh my god, did you see fucking? And that's what they do on Twitter today. Is like, oh my god, Francis, did you see what happened? Fucking
Oh
Kofi
my God,
Kingston.
Francis.
Kofi Kingston flipped off fucking Samoa Joe. And then fucking person responds, well, did Samoa Joe rip his hands off? No, they wouldn't let him do that. Well, that's bullshit. Shut the fuck up.
Welcome
Oh my
to
God,
the Eric
Francis, like-
Bischoff era.
Who's this Francis guy?
I'm like, who the fuck is this Francis person? I want to meet them.
Francis. So yeah, that's what happened. That actually happened. And then Bobby Lashley comes on, he cuts a promo.
He's still alive?
He is.
After that.
And he
going
goes,
into the fire.
it's a good thing. It's a good thing he got what he deserved. It was stupid. Don't even.
It
Did
was
he
just-
did he magic marker on his eyebrows beforehand so you knew?
No.
He
For some reason.
Because otherwise he was just surprised.
So by this time, I think the show was about an hour and 20 minutes in. What did you guys? You watched this, Gina, right? What are you thinking of this show at this time? Now, you just had Samoa Joe get flipped off by Kofi Kingston. I thought it was going to take a turn. Again, like I said, I would have much rather had this happen on a go-home show, not here. What do y'all think of that? I know Gina said she agrees. What do you think of that?
I completely agree. I don't know. The show to this point for me had not impressed me much. I was kind of checked out of the show, to be quite honest.
I was
Like,
too.
even when Kofi flipped him off, I'm like, oh, holy hell, he's flipping him off. Cool. You know, I mean, it wasn't a big reaction because by this time I was just like, are they ever going to get to anything good?
Right. That was probably the best thing on the show.
Well,
What
when
the
is
best
the-
thing-
when is
Besides the
pay-per-view?
Kevin Owens thing, but go ahead.
When is the pay-per-view?
Next
The
week.
14th.
Week from
Next
Sunday.
week.
So like, where do you go from flipping somebody off in terms of like elevating the storyline
Exactly.
That's-
what
in the realm of WWE? That's
Well,
like,
I would have done. I don't know. I mean, but I would have saved that kind of spot for a go home show because it probably would have got a little more of a reaction. Like, oh, he just flipped off. I can't wait for Samoa Joe to rip his fingers off.
Mm.
Type deal thing.
Francis, did you see this?
Francis, did you see this? He ripped his fingers off like you said he didn't do 2 weeks ago.
Anybody named Francis, hit us up because apparently
Not a
JP
good
knows
name.
you.
It's just
Not
a
a good-
name
it's not
popped
a
in
good
my
name.
head, so I said
Francis.
it. God damn. It has
Oh
nothing to
my
do.
god.
Francis.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna make a shirt. Oh my god, Francis.
Oh my God, Francis.
Francis!
Francis! Fuck, what the fuck? And we've got fucking sidetracked again. Oh my god. Jesus Christ, don't everybody talk at once.
No,
no,
I'm sorry. I
Francis.
was getting ready to move on. I didn't know you were. Excuse the fuck out of me, Francis. Trek, what did you think? What did you think of the show so far up to this point?
I thought the show was decent. I did think that, like you said, they should have kept the him flipping the bird for the go home show. I do have a question. Baba pointed this out. What the fuck was Shelton Benjamin doing in his promo?
Oh, he was thinking.
He
No,
looked like
he
he was
wasn't.
farting and watching a porn.
Shut up.
Hey,
Goddamn, everybody
no.
jumps to conclusions. No, he was
First of
actually.
all,
Go ahead.
JP, the guy looked like he had been like half mentally retarded for a second there. I mean, like seriously.
No, right, but common sense tells you when she asked him that question, he had that. And then if you've seen what I messaged, I said he's got that sinister look on his face, even though it did
Sinister?
look like he went full retarded.
It looked like
Okay.
a
Yes.
I showed Basement this last night, and Basement could not stop fucking laughing.
It looked like someone had snuck their way behind him and shoved their dick in his ass, and he had to think about it for a while, and then he realized he was good.
But I think what the way that they were, what he was really doing was he was actually, I think I might, whatever. So who's gonna
I
win?
think I might like this.
They
dick in
asked
my
him.
ass.
They asked him who was. They asked him who was gonna win between him, Kofi Kingston and Bobby Lashley, and Samoa Joe, and he's like, I don't know. I might interfere in that match so that I can win the title. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking.
I don't know
He
what the
forced
fuck
to,
they were
team
doing.
all by himself.
I don't know what the fuck was going on there. But
Dude, like he has like meme sensation today. Have you seen all the memes with him doing that?
Oh my god.
no, I have not.
Oh my
It's
god.
definitely it needs to be a GIF if it isn't already, because holy
Please
fuck.
tell me there is one of when he does that face, it does the Windows XP startup thing.
I haven't seen that one yet, Bobby.
All right. So I don't know. I really don't know what to think about it. Was it funny? I mean, I didn't laugh, but
It made no sense. But
it made no
okay.
The only
sense.
reason I started laughing was because I was literally going, "What the fuck is this?"
I mean, I did go, why? Well, Heather goes, why is he doing that? And I actually explained it to her, and I think he's being sinister for some reason.
It didn't say it's sinister.
It was the shittiest sinister-looking face I've ever seen. It did. It now the more I think about it, it did kind of look like somebody had stuck a dick in his ass.
He was contemplating butt sex.
And he had to think about, is that a dick or is that a hot dog?
Oh my god, it's like, do I like this?
Instead of thinking, why is something in my ass? Is that a dick or a hot dog?
Or is it a brat? But anyway.
Oh my god. Jesus fuck you guys.
But anyway, so we got the Bobby Lashley promo. He cut that promo. He's like, it's a good thing. I don't know what's going to happen with... I think this is a way to write Braun Strowman off of TV. I wish it would have been both of them being written off of TV because they just need to get off of TV for a little bit. Lashley is a great wrestler, but his fucking promos are so fucking boring that his character is just... You don't even fucking want to see him wrestle.
I feel
the
like
thing
Lashley
is-
needs to do some yoga because he can hardly fucking move. He walks around like he's got no movement.
He bends over
I was
like
gonna kind of say
RoboCop.
that. I'm sorry?
He bends over like RoboCop.
Right.
He actually is RoboCop. He walks around like RoboCop.
Well,
He's
I
a surprise
same thing,
RoboCop.
Basement, because like he's a good wrestler to a certain extent. Like to his abilities, he is, but he's not an overall very flexible wrestler to where he could get in the ring with, say, like a
Very
Ricochet.
flexible person.
Or-
The thing is he was in the ring with Ricochet.
Well, I mean, yeah, but look at take his match with Sami Zayn. Look what happened. That shit was horrible because he couldn't wrestle. He couldn't match the wrestling skills of like Sami Zayn.
No,
He looks
couldn't.
like he's slowly becoming Rock. Like he's solidifying.
And by that he means like Rock, not the Rock.
Actual Rock. Yeah.
Or actual Rock.
They should make a WWE movie like a version of RoboCop starring him. He brought me back to life, but he's so surprised.
They could lose that look of
On his fucking eyebrows, he can make his eyebrows look like they're fucking really surprised.
Right. So the
Eyes
next,
exploding out of his skull.
right. The next segment was Andrade versus Apollo. I don't care because I'm not a fan of Andrade. I will say this
Chris is
one.
still alive?
I will say this one thing. I think Andrade is a joke. Zelina Vega needs to help him every single fucking time. It's getting old, redundant, and it's becoming garbage to me. I cannot. This is why I don't like Andrade. He can't do his own thing. If he could do his own thing, he looks like he might be able to wrestle, but how the fuck do I know Zelina Vega is the one that's always winning his fucking matches for him?
Well, the thing is, I've seen him wrestle in NXT where Zelina Vega did not interfere.
Yeah.
There were a few down there where she didn't interfere, and he is a good wrestler.
Yes.
I think the only reason why Vega is still around is because of like he can't speak English very well quite yet.
Yeah. When he tries
But-
to speak English, he sounds like he's got like 8
I
minutes
mean-
loads in his mouth.
But if he's working on it, and I think it's just going to be a matter of time before, since they're doing these whole couple thing, I think that they're going to end up pairing Charlotte with him, and then put
Oh, I
Vega
can't
with
wait.
Aleister.
That seems like a terrible pairing. I'm sorry. Even if they're together in real life, Charlotte Flair and fucking Andrade Cien Almas.
I don't think they're gonna ever do that.
Well,
That's
sooner or later they will have Vega turn on him. Sooner or later.
They better.
And it's either going to be because somebody else is going to come in and take her place as his like kind of interpreter, either that or he's going to be to the point with his English where,
No,
yeah,
it's never
you're
gonna
going to be like, well, I mean, look at Shinsuke Nakamura.
It's
I mean,
still not
Shinsuke
great.
is just really rocky, but he can still speak it, you
But
know?
Shinsuke was a better, like, Andrade is like, oh my lord, man.
Yeah, he's got issues.
I am
He's got like
going
a
to
fucking 10-inch cock in his mouth while he speaks.
I mean, it's hard learning a new language, so I'm not gonna make fun of the dude. But
No, I'm not either, because I can't speak a lick of fucking Spanish. I'll tell you that fucking much right
I
now.
mean, if I tried to speak Spanish, it would sound the same. Talking about.
you know, like I legitimately do. I've seen Andrade wrestle with, like I said, without her interfering, and he is a damn good wrestler. So I do respect him in that aspect.
I agree.
Right.
And Apollo Crews is the same way. Apollo Crews is a great wrestler. It's just he hasn't been able to show what he can do.
He is absolutely
too fast.
atrocious on the mic.
He's not very good on the mic at all. His
No.
in ring, he can wrestle, but
Yeah.
you're
He was-
wrestling.
he was
You got to
brought up without
remember
a
in
character.
WWE, your wrestling has to coincide with your mic work or else
skills,
you're not
right?
going
So,
anywhere.
This
okay,
is one of the
what is
reasons why
Apollo? What is
never
Apollo
gonna make
Cruz's? What is Apollo Cruz's character? Did he ever have a character?
No, that's
Wow.
another
the
thing.
Apollo Crews. Like he's just basically himself.
But I don't even know what Apollo. Like, if somebody said, like, what is Apollo Cruz?
But
That's
wasn't
just
he
his
like
name.
an Olympic? Like wasn't he like an Olympian or something like that? It was very similar to Bobby Lashley.
I don't think he actually had any character ever.
No, I don't know. I didn't watch him in NXT, so I don't fucking know.
He's good. He's really good in ring. He's a
Really
great
good.
athlete. It's just he has no character, and his mic skills are just. Ugh.
My balls, your chin. Yeah, again, like I said, Andrade always has to have Zelina Vega help him. It's driving me fucking nuts. It's like this guy has a great in-ring talent. The only reason that he has, like we've said, the only reason he has Vega with him is because he can't fucking talk. That's.
But
the
I feel
only
like
reason.
if they made her just be his mouthpiece, but made him like validated in ring with his actual in ring work, he doesn't need her to interfere
Mm-mm.
No,
at
he don't.
all.
He don't. He don't, and that's.
But I think that by her interfering, that kind of solidifies her role as a heel as well.
Yeah.
I understand that, but she's making him look really weak by doing that. That's all I'm
I
saying.
mean, I understand, like I get what you're saying, but in the same sense, I kind of disagree because she interfered in his matches in NXT all the time. Yes, there were a few where she didn't interfere, where she was like kicked out of the backstage or whatever.
Yeah.
In NXT, she interfered in his matches quite a few times, especially against her own husband,
Right.
and it still worked.
No, I understand. Speaking of her husband, Aleister Black is the next segment, and he's sitting in his. I'm assuming it's a closet, and he's asking someone to please pick a fight with him at Extreme Rules. So I don't know if they're gonna have a match with him at Extreme Rules. People are like, "Oh, Finn Balor would be a great." I don't think they're doing Finn Balor. Finn Balor, if I had my guess, I don't know, but the week before they teased Shinsuke came out, and he said, Finn Balor. They asked Finn Balor, "Hey, who do you want? Who would be your ideal opponent at to wrestle?" Shinsuke Nakamura came out, looked at the title, did one of these things, pointed at it, and then walked away. So I think they're teasing Shinsuke, but I don't know.
Well, and I don't even know if Finn's gonna be on the card for Extreme Rules because like he's on vacation right now. He's back home. That's why we haven't seen him on TV for the past like 2 or 3 weeks because he's back home.
Right. But no, I'm just saying. I don't know what they're doing, and why are they allowing their champion to take a vacation? That to me is, I don't understand that at all. He's their champion.
Well, I think it was probably a situation where they just didn't have anything for him storyline wise right now, and
How do you not have anything for your champion, though?
But how can
But
you then,
no,
like, go ahead.
But here's the thing, though. Even though he's your champion, he's still entitled to a fucking vacation. So
take the
Yeah,
title
but not
off
when
him.
he is your champion.
huh?
Then take the title
But I mean,
off him.
the guy hadn't had time off in forever, and if they would have taken the title off of Finn right away, people would have been in an uproar because like
But
It's
here's the
not
thing,
up to
like,
the fucking people.
if at my work, if I have to take vacation, they need a lot of notification that I'm going to be taking vacation. So it's not like out of nowhere. It's like I have to leave now.
well, unless he had a family death.
Could be. If that's the case, then I'm wrong.
I say it again, Gina. I'm sorry.
I mean, if he had like a family death or something like that, then
Now that I can't shit on that, but we don't know. Now if he's just taking a vacation, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean,
The fact that like a champion in the business can take a vacation, if the fact that a champion in your business can take a vacation just shows you have too many fucking champions.
Yep.
well, the thing is, like, I don't know if he's on vacation. All I know is that he's home. I don't know what brought him there. So
Okay. No, that's fine. Okay. Well, I mean, we're speculating, so whatever. Don't want to start a fight. God damn. Calm. As Gina would say.
by Finn Balor, okay?
Well, as Gina would say, calm your tits. So anyway, moving on to, I don't know what they're gonna do with Aleister Black here, but apparently he wants somebody to pick a fight with him, and it'd probably be sitting in the middle of the fucking ring, and then somebody will come out and they'll get a black mask or something. I don't know.
JP.
What? Go ahead.
So you're saying that Extreme Rules, Aleister Black is finally coming out of the closet.
Oh my god. I think personally this might be a time when they might bring somebody in for like a little like nostalgia act type thing.
I don't want it to be Bray Wyatt because you're gonna bring Bray Wyatt back to lose to Aleister Black. That's essentially what you're doing. So you're gonna have Bray Wyatt doing the same fucking bullshit that he was doing before he left. Being a fucking glorified jobber. Huh?
I heard it might be Cesaro. That's the popular rumor going around. Cesaro's could be his first opponent.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. That might
Why
actually
not Gilbert?
Great fucking match.
I'm going to ignore that statement Bob just made.
Why not Goldberg?
Because he wants to fight Walker. Damn it.
So we'll see. We'll see. I think Cesaro would be a good opponent for him.
Yeah, that would be a great match.
The next segment or match was Ember Moon and Mandy faced off in a match, and they had been teasing Ember Moon or Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, kind of bullying, if you could say, Ember Moon, and Ember Moon got fed up, and now she just they're in. I think what they're doing here, and I've seen it, is they're teasing a Sonya Deville Mandy Rose feud.
Oh, dude, they've been doing that for a long time.
Now, the reason I say that is because last week Mandy or Sonya Deville, did that whole lovingly with her hair bullshit. I honestly think that Mandy Rose is gonna be like, "Fuck off of me," kind of like type deal thing. It's gonna be cringe fucking feud, but whatever.
I can't wait.
I don't want to fucking see it. I don't mind Sonya Deville. Mandy Rose is getting better, but my God, break them two up. It's getting fucking annoying.
Do you honestly think that they would do an angle where, like, going against her lesbianism in a negative aspect like that?
Wait, who's a lesbian?
Sonya Deville's a lesbian.
Well, why wouldn't they?
Because, like, WWE LGBT is like one of their main draws right now. Like they really draw out to like the LGBT community, LGBTQ.
Okay, so here's my stance on this shit, and I get what you're saying, Gina, but this is a problem with fucking WWE. Oh, we have these fans, we have these fans. Well, we can't do this, can't do that. Well, what the fuck can they do then? What the fuck can they do? They can't tell a fucking story. Because, oh my God, they're going to offend the fucking lesbian community? Come on.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
I get
I
what you're
what
saying.
I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, like, that's, like, I'm wondering if they would even do that just because, like, the LGBTQ community is kind of a newer community that they've been kind of trying to sell to.
Just have them scissor in the middle of the ring.
Sure, why not? I mean, fuck, they just said holy shit on TV. Fuck it. I don't know. I think it would. It's gonna lead to a feud. Ember Moon. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They've ruined her. And Asuka and Kairi Sane.
It's like they can only push one woman or two, and the rest have to all be like fodder.
Yeah, it's ridiculous in my opinion as well. I don't know. I don't know. It's fucking cringeworthy. So then we got the main event. Heavy Machinery versus Dolphin KO. New Day and Daniel Bryan and Rowan were out there, and for some fucking reason, the New Day always gets their own fucking table. Because Byron, I don't fucking know. It's so stupid. They had like fucking 3 trays of fucking pancakes.
Like, what a waste of food, man.
I know.
They're starving people out there.
And those
Right.
pancakes have to be cold as fuck at this point, you know?
So there was a question posed, and I've actually asked myself this question: where do they get these pancakes from?
They have to have they have to have like one person that just fucking literally makes pancakes 24/7.
Or do
Yes,
they
yes.
defrost them? Frozen?
You guys do realize that they can buy pancakes at Walmart for like $2.98 for like 150 pancakes, right?
Yeah, no, I get that.
Ew.
I'm
Who
not
the
shit.
fuck would buy pancakes instead of making them?
Because, like, legitimately, I mean, why would you have somebody fucking pay somebody to make a shit ton of pancakes when you can literally just buy them by the bulk?
It's cheaper to make tons of pancakes than it is to buy them by the bulk.
Not really if you buy them by the bulk.
No lies.
I mean, you got to remember, basement. We're talking about America. America has like everything is by the bulk here. Like our food is by bulk. That's why we have a weight problem.
And everything's pre-made because we don't have time to actually sit down and make a meal anymore.
Or we're too lazy.
Or we're
I mean-
just lazy. We're a bunch of lazy fucks down here. But anyway, New Day
Disappointing.
and Daniel Bryan and Rowan, they had a fight on the outside, and then they went to a
Eric
commercial.
Rowan has a huge ass. Sorry, I had to say that.
Eric, he
And
does. He really
Tina
does.
was talking about it before, and I didn't get the chance to tell her, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but holy fuck, is that guy's ass huge.
Right.
It's huge.
It's fair enough. So we're gonna sit here and talk about asses now. But anyway, Rowan put Woods through a table, which was actually a pretty good spot because it was on the pancakes. I was like, great. Fucking pancake. I'm
What a
sick of the
waste of
fucking
food.
New Day and their pancake gimmick.
I don't understand where it came from.
Because they didn't want to do the Bootios anymore. So
Yeah, and
had
they
to
would
think
always-
of
they always-
something.
They always used to say that breakfast was the most important meal of the day. That's when they came out with the Bootios, and then after a while, they came with pancakes.
Because pancakes are more healthier than the Bootios, I guess.
Well,
Eggs,
they
eggs.
transitioned from Bootios to ice cream and then pancakes.
Yeah.
They tried the ice cream, but the ice cream fucking
Wait, here's my
bicycle
question
fucking
though. Like,
didn't work.
here's my question: who the fuck eats a pancake without syrup?
Me.
Kevin Owens did it. He ate an entire tray. Remember?
They're pretty good. They're pretty good with that syrup.
Yeah, if they're
Front, front door. No, they are not.
yeah,
You
they
guys-
are. Yeah, they are.
100% they are.
Actually, if done right, they are actually pretty good.
I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad.
Don't hate. Appreciate.
I know. We buy them in bulk.
So the match goes on. I didn't really watch this match because whatever. I mean, as you can see, I pretty much didn't even watch SmackDown. I was sitting on my phone on Twitter,
Same
waiting
here.
for somebody
I
to say
actually
something
didn't
stupid
watch
so
it
I
at
could
all.
argue with them. But Heavy Machinery ends up pinning Dolphin KO, so they don't get a title shot. Why even put? I think these two are gonna end up having a match somewhere down the line. I don't know if they're gonna turn Kevin Owens a babyface. I know he wants to be a babyface. I did see that. I don't mind Kevin Owens as a babyface, but I don't mind him as a heel either.
Hey, he's a jack of all trades.
He is. He's a lot like AJ Styles in that sense. He can do it all.
Yep.
I think his in-ring is pretty good too. For as big
I
as he
actually think
is,
I think his in-ring is phenomenal.
yes, it's for as big as he is, he's good. But he's lost weight too. You've noticed that he's lost some weight.
Yeah, he slimmed down a bit. He's got like this weird like bulbous belly, but the rest of him is not that big. I just don't understand how his body works.
Right. It's the same as me. I've got a pretty big gut, but the rest of me is like whatever.
Well, I wouldn't say the rest of you is that small.
Oh
Big
my
ass.
God.
Bubble butt.
Oh my God. All right. So anyway, so Owens. Well, there was a spot in there where Kevin Owens super kicked Dolph Ziggler. Am I right?
No, Dolph kicked him.
Okay. Well, hashtag fuck me. That's how much I was paying attention.
Wrong.
So at the end of the match, Owens gave Ziggler a stunner, and that pretty much ended the show.
Yep.
Pretty anticlimactic, if you ask me. It wasn't bad, but again,
I mean,
it wasn't great. It was okay, more on the bad side, but it was okay. I mean, it was watchable. It didn't want to put me to sleep. Now, if you know me doing live reactions, I'm like sitting there going like this, like fucking waiting for something to happen. And the one fucking night that we don't fucking go live, you hear Corey Graves say "holy shit," you get a fucking flip off. So fuck this fucking live shit. Just kidding. But go ahead. My overall was okay. I'm not gonna sit here and whatever. Go ahead, somebody. I don't care who.
I give it an Eric Rowan ass.
It wasn't great. I Basement didn't even see the show, and it was ass. It was ass. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It wasn't good. It wasn't excellent. It was between bad and okay. Trek?
I mean,
Good, Gina.
no, go ahead, Chuck.
It was okay, like you guys said. The only parts I liked were like the Kofi gave on the finger, which I didn't even get to see because the damn feed went blacked out because somebody hit the button in
Oh,
the
here,
production truck.
this is what he did. You'll see it when it goes live. Just flipped him off right in his face. But okay, go ahead.
And then the Shelton Benjamin thing, which is odd. Bob and I are like, what the hell is he doing? And then now that we know what he was doing, it's like still just looked like you guys said, like he had dick up his ass and.
Good dick his ass? What the fuck is he? What?
Stick up his ass. Stick up his ass.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the only part that made me laugh was when they destroyed the New Day's commentary table. If you go back and look at that, Rowan gets really intense and throws part of it at Daniel Bryan, which I don't know why, but it was just funny as shit, and I started laughing.
You laugh
He
at the
got to
fucking
it.
weirdest fucking shit.
Well, he got into it. I mean, like, he was really into the moment. He just, like, fuck this. He threw it at Bryan, so I started laughing. It was all right. I mean, maybe we're compared it to just the fact that Raw started off with a bang, literally. I mean, but it was okay. It's all right.
Fair enough.
Nothing to write home about.
Well, of course. SmackDown is never anything to write home about. Bobbit?
Yo, motherfuckers.
Oh
It's your
my
boy,
fucking
DJ.
Oh my
Steve.
god.
DJ.
Yo, man. Yo, man. SmackDown was like a steak from like a steak place, you know? It wasn't like, yo, Kobe beef, the finest beef that there is, but it wasn't a Walmart steak either, motherfucker. It was like it was like a Texas Roadhouse steak, motherfucker. It was okay. It was all right, man.
What the fuck?
I have no fucking
Skinny
idea.
penis. Dropping bombs.
Gina, what about you?
I
I
would
mean-
say that fucking it ain't no Angus beef, motherfucker.
Kobe beef.
Oh, big beef.
Kobe.
Go ahead.
I'm trying.
Okay, how many
It would-
Eric Rowan asses do you give it?
I mean, I gave it about a half of Eric Rowan's ass, which is equivalent to a lot of ass. But no, I mean, it was all right. Nothing really too big. The biggest things that popped to me was Kevin Owens in the beginning, and then of course Heavy Machinery winning the match because that put them in the match at Extreme Rules.
We will
And I
talk about
love-
Extreme Rules next Friday. We'll be giving our
Yes.
predictions, so don't give away your
Yes.
predictions.
Well, I mean, I think everybody knows what my prediction is already. I love Otis, but like Otis, if you're listening, like I will marry you tomorrow. That's how much I love you.
Wait, imagine sex with Otis.
I don't even care. Like I love him. He's funny
Think about
as
it for a
fuck.
second.
He'd
Think about
be
it for a
sitting there going,
Funny.
Chucky!
He'd
So
be
anyway.
going, Gina.
It's my time to get on top. Dead
Gina,
immediately.
just imagine coming up to Gigi, steaks and weights, baby, every night.
I would lose my mind laughing. Like that would be hilarious.
But I'm imagining the point where you're like, Otis, you really have to talk about our financial situation. Sticks and weights!
I need steaks and weights, baby. But no, like I'm serious. I love Otis. But yeah, that was one of the highlights for me. Otherwise, the rest of the show was kind of meh.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean the flipping off thing. I mean, we flip people off. It's not like we've never seen
Okay,
somebody. We've never seen
my
somebody
son-
flip somebody off, but when it happens on TV, it does kind of give that. Oh, okay.
Well, the thing is, I think it
I
was a
mean-
slip up. I don't think Joe was supposed to move. I think it
Joe
was-
didn't move. They moved the camera.
No, Joe did move.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go
I
ahead.
feel like Shelton Benjamin had an anal orgasm.
You may have.
He lost
So-
his cherry.
He had a hot dog.
Bratwurst.
Bratwurst.
Could you, now I just like I keep on imagining fucking Otis like doing the fucking caterpillar in the bedroom. Like, why did you guys do this to me?
Well, you said you want to marry him. That's part
I
of
mean,
marrying.
I
him.
would.
He
I
clowned
would.
you.
I would marry him tomorrow. I love him. He's funny as fuck.
Yeah, but I don't think you could hold a conversation with him.
I mean, do you really think the guy is really like that in real life? Come on.
I kind of do.
Right.
I kind of don't. I feel like he's probably a
What if he's-
lot more intelligent than people give him
What
credit.
if he's like super intelligent?
That's what
He
I'm
is.
saying. Like,
He is super intelligent. Just
Well,
throwing that
let
out.
me tell you about our finances, Gina.
he puts his fucking reading glasses on.
It appears we have
Steaks and
spent
weights.
too much on steaks and weights.
I know, Heather, you thought it was about the same as me. It was okay, more bad than okay.
I
But
spent more time playing on my phone and playing with Wendy than watching the show.
they're
after a
doing
while,
what
so
I will give Raw and SmackDown credit for on both of these shows is the way they bookended the shows.
Yes.
They started off with something, and what I mean by that was Kevin Owens losing his shit on Dolph Ziggler, and then
Mhm.
stunning Dolph Ziggler at the end. Whereas Raw, they started with that oh shit moment, a holy shit moment, literally, and then ending with the heel turn by AJ Styles. But that's essentially, it looked like two shows, just the same show except just different ways they
Order.
did it. The format of the show was the same on SmackDown as it was Raw. It was just different, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, no, it doesn't.
They don't? Well, I can explain it.
The format of the show was the same.
What I mean by
But different.
is the way they had an oh holy shit moment, and then not, I wouldn't say a holy shit moment, but they had a oh wow moment on both ends of the show. Now the ones on SmackDown weren't as big as the ones on Raw, but they were format. That's what I meant by format.
So is Kevin Owens' finisher the stunner now?
He still he still uses that pop up power bomb.
Yeah.
He
I
still uses it.
personally, I think that they kind of regulated him a little bit on the pop-up powerbomb just because of concussion protocol.
He teases
Well, I also
it a
feel
lot.
like you can't do a pop-up powerbomb out of nowhere in a segment like that. It's the stunner works better.
Yes.
Yeah, and the pop-up powerbomb. I mean, there were a lot of people that weren't taking the landing the way that they should, and their head was hitting the mat. So
Okay,
I don't-
no, I don't agree with this. They're wrestlers. They know how to take a power bomb.
Not all of them.
Not all.
Not all.
They don't know how to take
it-
any
it-
move. Most of those
Well, the
moves
thing
end
is,
that
like with the pop-up power bomb, it's not just a regular power bomb like that. There's a lot of momentum behind that. So you're coming down, and if you don't have the strength in your neck to keep your neck up, then your head is gonna like hit the mat and kind of whiplash.
That's true.
I actually think that's
It's very similar to an Alabama Slam in a way.
Alabama Slam. Yeah, but the pop-up power bomb I wouldn't think is too much different than a regular power bomb.
Aside from the
In
fact
terms
that
of
you're
how you
coming
take
from way higher up.
Last ride.
Yeah, but last ride he basically glides them down.
That's impossible. Gravity is gravity. It glides them down. What the fuck does that mean?
The fucking Undertaker, okay? He glides them down.
All right, I accept.
Good
Well,
half.
plus, imagine them trying to do a pop-up powerbomb on the Big Show. It doesn't always work, so
It
Yeah.
could. I mean, it wouldn't.
you'd have to jump pretty high.
And I think that Kevin Owens needed another move in his repertoire to begin with. I mean, the pop-up powerbomb is great. Don't get me wrong. Huh?
Like his finisher before he went to the WWE was the package pile driver. I think. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
It might have
I'm
been.
not sure.
I
But
know he used to do it.
I mean, he needed something else, like kind of a little bit. As obviously, Sumner's not new, but it's new to his repertoire anyway. So
I think he needed, and I think most wrestlers need that kind of like out of nowhere move that they can execute very quickly.
exactly.
All right.
All right.
Fair enough. So then tonight, well, I should say last night, since it is 2:20 in the morning here, we have NXT, and we're gonna talk about NXT because I said I would. The night started off with Aaliyah versus Mia Yim.
Transforming.
It was a good match. Well, for Mia Yim, fucking Aaliyah and Vanessa Bourne just are terrible. Mia Yim wins with I think Heather's used to call it a protect your neck for the win. As Mia Yim walked away, I actually had to rewind it because I didn't hear what Heather said, and by that time I'd done that. But Mia Yim and Vanessa Bourne must have gotten into a little tiff at the end, and Mia Yim puts Vanessa Bourne into the stairs. And then she walks over to, as she was getting ready to walk out, she's like, no, fuck that. I'm going to walk over to the announcer's booth. And so this is how Shayna Baszler does this and calls out Shayna Baszler. So I think they're going to do Mia Yim versus Shayna Baszler at NXT Toronto.
I hope they do.
Toronto.
I hope they do.
I hope they do, and I hope they... This is getting old. Shayna Baszler needs to lose the title. I get it.
The time has come a long time ago for her to lose
Yes,
the
they
main
need
roster.
to get the title off of her. Well, again, we'll talk about that when the time comes. But it is time for Shayna Baszler to get that title off of her and get her to the main roster because the main roster needs help now.
It's not only that, it's just the
Especially
fact
on
that
Raw.
Yes,
if they
there's
move the
nobody.
title-
There is nobody on Raw except for, and I hate to say it, Lacey Evans. Who is
Yeah.
on Raw that can fucking take on Becky Lynch right now? Nobody.
Right.
Nobody. So
Well,
I don't want to
recent-
hear that fucking bullshit. Well, they have. Why? Why even fucking use her? She's garbage.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, like if NXT, if they move the title off Baszler, they're moving it on to somebody that I don't know can be anywhere close on the mic or promo.
Oh God, no. Mia Yim she's fucking
Mia Yim,
great.
Mia
Oh,
Yim.
Mia Yim, yeah. But like the rest of the roster, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, ultimately, I think they're going to give Mia Yim. She's another one. They need to get her to the main roster in quick, fast, and a hurry. She'd be another one that could give Becky Lynch a match. But
Now,
you
I have
gotta
a question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. This kind of pertaining to what we're talking about, kind of not. But did Mercedes Martinez, is she gone from NXT now? Because I haven't seen her in a
yeah,
match
She's been
forever.
gone for WWE. Is never going to use her ever. They were going to use her as talent enhancement. They
Okay.
don't think highly of her. I mean, I don't think she's that great.
Oh, I liked her, but anyway.
Can WWE get rid of WWE NXT UK?
They could if
I
they
like
wanted
NXT UK in a way.
No, but like
some
a
of the
lot of
matches
their
are really good.
a lot of their prime talent is stuck there.
Like Jack Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah, but every once in a while they will have that match where they bring some of the talent from NXT UK over to NXT and have a match against like a regular NXT talent.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like Fergie Ballin over there,
Mm-hmm.
he's pretty goddamn good.
He got a big fucking head though.
He really does. But Jordan Devlin is absolutely phenomenal. There's no question about it.
Well,
But you know what? Like with his size and stuff, he's pigeonholed.
He's Finn Balor. He's a Finn Balor.
Yeah, he's Finn Balor 2.0. That's basically.
Well, Finn Balor trained him. Finn Balor
Yeah.
trained him.
He's
Yeah,
like
but he is Finn Balor through and through. But
he's like the bobblehead version of Finn Balor.
Jesus Christ.
How did his mother give birth to him? Holy
I don't
fuck.
know, but dude is a really good fucking wrestler. So whatever,
She
he can
was
be
never the
bobbleheaded.
same.
I would hate to see him try and run in a fucking 100-yard dash. Fucking fall on his head. Fucking.
Jesus Christ, you guys!
Well, fuck, it's monstrous. like he better have the biggest brain in the world, otherwise we'll a lot of lost space.
Right. The next match is a cage match, and they did the cage match review. They talked about what Io Shirai did. That girl snapped. I don't. She's a heel now, and I'm thank God because she can play that heel character that I know she can because I've seen her do it in All Pro Japan.
What a great wrestler she is, man.
She's
Holy
fantastic. She's probably the best, but she's not as good as Asuka.
Yeah.
But she will be better than Asuka. I guarantee it.
I agree.
I cannot agree less.
You cannot agree less. So.
Oh, Bobbitt, you just
couldn't
got
agree
excited
more.
to her Asian woman, so calm down.
I mean, Kairi Sane's up there too, but I don't think that Kairi Sane is as good as Io Shirai, and Io Shirai is younger than Kairi Sane.
Kairi Sane is also like too Final Fantasy for me.
Can I ask you guys something? Like, what
No.
the fuck are they doing with the tag team titles on main card? Like the fucking women's tag team titles? Like,
Well,
what the-
okay, so they just got back from Japan, and there was a match where Kairi Sane and Asuka, all they had to do was beat Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, and they would get a title shot of their choosing at any time. I think they're going to save it for SummerSlam.
Okay.
Kairi
'cause,
Sane,
like,
I think
they've just
Kairi
been
Sane and
sitting on-
Asuka, because they wouldn't pair them with Paige if they weren't going to fucking win the titles.
Well, and I know that Paige was just on Twitter, like, kind of bitching about like how her team has not been like getting any shots or anything like that. So I know that they're building a storyline to it, but it just seems like they created the women's tag titles just to basically shut the fans up,
They
and
did.
then kind of
They
sat
created them-
on them.
That's what
They
they're
created
doing.
them just to shut Sasha Banks up.
Maybe, but they created them just because they have too much talent and only 2 titles.
Right. But that was a rumor going around that they created the title to shut Sasha Banks up. If talent's gonna dictate them fucking creating titles, then they need not be in WWE. Talent
many
should not
titles
be
anyway, man,
talent should
fuck.
not be telling fucking Vince McMahon and Triple H and Stephanie what they need to do. Sorry, I don't give a fuck what anybody fucking says. And yes, Seth Rollins had every right to say what he fucking said. Enough said. I don't care.
Well,
what
you
anybody
do
says.
realize that Seth Rollins apologized for
Yes,
what he said.
did, but he did not back down from what he stated. He
What he
said,
apologized for
He-
was him
yeah.
bringing bank accounts into
Yep.
it. Everything else, I agree
he-
with him 100%.
And-
The
and
bank
he
account
did-
thing
and
is
he-
just kind of bullshit.
But well, you know what though? I think for him to the bank account shit was what had me going, all right, this guy's a fucking douchebag, you know, but he apologized for that, and Will Ospreay accepted it, you know, or whatever, and they're fine. But he did put out another tweet saying that, you know, he believes that WWE is the best, but, you know, as a champion, as WWE's top champion, that's his job.
But I mean, no matter what people say, statistically, WWE is the best.
It's true.
I don't give a fuck what anybody says statistically.
This is why you like Zack Sabre Jr.
Dude, I go where the wrestling is, okay? And for me, I mean, you guys know I love New Japan because that's where the best wrestling is for me.
The best wrestling, but the best wrestlers aren't all in New Japan, though.
No. I didn't say the best wrestlers. I said the best wrestling. Now, I like the wrestling aspect a little bit more than I like the entertainment aspect, which is why I kind of lean more towards New Japan.
New Japan, I don't watch that much New Japan, but I can already see the formula of how they build pay-per-views, and I get tired of the way that they build pay-per-views because it's 90% fucking tag matches, 6-man tag team, this, that. It's like fucking hell, man. Chill out on that shit.
And
like,
I get it.
Not just 6-man tags.
I get it that it's okay to build tag team matches, to build feuds or whatever, to build those singles feuds, but they do that in WWE, and this is the problem that I have with it. They do that in WWE, you know, they fucking suck.
Another tag team match.
But that's why I was saying earlier that I was okay when they put. I mean, I would have preferred for them to have Rowan and Daniel Bryan in that match instead of War Raiders or Viking Raiders, because then it would have made sense to me, because I like those type of matches where if it's a 6-man tag match, then it's the 2 tag teams that are going to be facing each other, and then 2 competitors that are going to be facing each other.
Right.
I like it too, but everything in moderation. And New Japan is notorious for doing way too many tag matches.
Well, that's because New Japan, they focus a lot on tag team wrestling in general, just like not only setting up for matches, but they focus, their factions have a lot of tag teams, and they have a lot of guys in different factions, so that's how they are able to showcase.
And that's why
I
dislike.
I understand there's reason behind it, but it doesn't mean that it can't be criticized.
Well, fuck your criticism. That's what I say.
Wow.
Same thing for WWE, though. There's reason behind what they do. They get criticized for it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So the next segment was, and this is NXT, so there's no commercials, even though they do some stupid shit. Adam Cole, why they do that on the network? They have a commercial on their own network is fucking just
to promote the network that you already paid to watch the network. It's like
so dumb.
I understand it, but they only really need to do probably about one actual network commercial during it. That's all they should do.
Right. If there's a new show coming out, then I get it. Especially during a pay-per-view or something. But don't fucking show me fucking Ric Flair is on the network. Well, no fucking shit he's on the network. He fucking was in WWE and WCW, which WWE owns. I don't fucking need to see that shit.
Ric Flair move.
Gonna have to. Next was the Adam Cole segment. This was the best part of the whole show. Mm-hmm. All he did, and I didn't see it last week. I did see it, but I didn't see this part of it. He actually ordered 4 pizzas at Gargano's. And was it his grandfather or his father? I don't know. His dad? Okay, he ordered 4 pizzas from the Gargano Pizzeria.
Johnny Gargano?
Yeah. And he went, picked up the pizzas. The best part about this, I'm not one... This is where they didn't really dwell on the real life. Like, the family members aren't going to get involved in the match. If that makes sense. But the part that I liked is he took a signed picture of himself and put it up on the fucking wall. And as he walked out, he turned and he said, "Oh, I like your wall of fame." And the fucking father looks up, and he sees his fucking signed picture of fucking Adam Cole. I thought it was great. Now they go to the gym where Johnny Gargano learned how to do all of his shit, which I don't know if that's real or not, because, well, it's not the way I read it, but whatever. So he's there and he's telling all these guys they need to quit, give up, leave this gym, all this shit. That's why he bought the pizzas. He go sit on your couch and give up. So, I mean, it was a great segment, and I don't want to see it again, but they're probably going to do Johnny Gargano versus fucking Adam Cole. Again, I'm going to say this. We shit all over Raw and SmackDown for doing this, but then they do it on NXT, and it's the greatest thing since fucking Wonder Bread.
But I
Oh
think
god,
a lot
how
of that
many times
is.
did we see Ciampa versus fucking Gargano?
Exactly.
With the exact
I-
same spots in every match.
I personally never shit on the Ciampa versus Gargano stuff because it was always good.
It was always
I feel like I don't like to see the same shit when it's mediocre or less than so. Like WWE does a lot of the same stuff. Yeah, it's still a WWE product. They're still going to be somewhat similar. But if I only see 1 hour a week instead of 6 or 5 or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
it's just not as beating me over the head with the stick.
And not only that, but I think like NXT, okay, take like the Ciampa Gargano feud. Every feud had a different stipulation, so it was always something different. And even though there were a lot of the same move sets or whatever, we saw blood, we saw them running up the stage, we saw falls count anywhere, we saw fucking carnage. Whereas with WWE, up until this week, they were a lot more tame with their products. So we were seeing the same matches without the same results.
I would say the Gargano Ciampa feud is probably one of the best feuds in the last 10 years in WWE television.
Hey, speaking of which, I know this is sidetrack. I'm sorry, but did you guys watch? You guys watched Last Takeover? Obviously, you did because I think we all watched it together.
Yes.
But anyways, did you watch the pre-show
Yes. I did.
when Ciampa came back?
Yes, I
Or
did.
he's not back, but he jumped up on the table. So who knows when he's going to be back?
Never.
He's retiring. He just jumped up on the table for no
He's
reason.
teasing you, Gina. He's the greatest heel in wrestling.
He's a fucking great heel. And I understand he's teasing me, but
I don't think he's the greatest heel in wrestling, but whatever.
I don't think he's heel either. He's just a great heel.
I think he's been one of the greatest heels in the last 10 years for sure.
Yeah.
He's also turning into Kurt Angle because his body's fusing together.
This is true.
I don't want to fucking imagine that with that fucking beard.
Oh my god, like the fucking helmet neck. Oh god, no.
I got no neck, but I got a long fucking beard.
He's
anyway.
RoboCop, turn left, his whole body
With a
has to
beard.
turn.
With a beard.
RoboCop's starring him in fucking Surprise Face, Bobby Lashley. It's a buddy cop movie. I don't know. Fuck. Shoot me.
The next segment was Kushida versus I don't remember his first name, but Kushida versus Parker. This ended up in that surfboard submission lock from Kushida. And the funny thing to me is they said, and this is where Mauro Ranallo and WWE not acknowledging any other wrestling companies. How did he say that? He's a young up and coming star. I'm like, Mauro, he's already a star. He doesn't need, he's not up and coming. He's already there. Fucking, this is my issue. Another one of my issues with WWE not acknowledging other
like the real
promotions.
world doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know, it's so stupid. I mean, yes, AJ Styles and the Good Brothers were saying, well, in Japan, but they weren't acknowledging. You all know where they came from, but not everybody knows where they came from. We're talking about the casuals. So the casuals were like, I didn't know Japan had a wrestling company.
But I also feel like NXT isn't really the brand for the casuals.
No.
So that kind of commentary is ridiculous.
Yes. That I'm just gonna move on from that. What did you guys think of the show so far? It's about half over by now. It's only an hour show.
I mean, it was okay, but me personally, I've seen better NXTs.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this right now. This one was okay. It wasn't again. This week's programming for WWE failed itself. I mean, they had opportunities upon opportunities. Now, was it better? I would say that Raw might actually have been better than NXT this week.
I would say that out of all three shows, Raw probably took the cake this week.
I cannot disagree. I mean, everybody's like, what the fuck were you watching? It has to do with what NXT gave us. They didn't really build on anything except for nothing.
Well, and then like you had a couple of matches where they were basically just like squash matches because okay, you had what's her face, fucking Bianca Belair come out against somebody that I didn't fucking know, like she's just a fucking newbie.
Oh, her name is Tamika, and she came from Lucha Underground.
Okay, well, whoever the fuck she is, she got her ass whooped in like 5 seconds. But
yeah, we're
gonna talk about
her
like that
when we get there. We'll talk about Bianca Belair when I get there. That fucking hood rat. Anyway.
Oh god.
The next thing we got was a Killian Dane vignette. This was another good thing. He's coming back to NXT full time, so.
And it was a great vignette too.
It was a good vignette. It wasn't as good as the Adam Cole segment, but it was pretty good. Then we got this. What is this? What do they call this? The future fucking superstar. Isaiah Scott, Cameron Grimes, or Trevor Lee. If you've ever watched Impact, he was the X Division champion. He's a great heel. I don't understand his gimmick. He is the smaller white version of Bobby Lashley. He has no personality. To me.
I think that this might be another one of the guys like similar to Punishment Martinez, where they repackage him.
They just he needs to be that crazy hillbilly guy because he's from the hills of North Carolina. That's what he needs to be. It's a simple gimmick. I don't know why they're sitting there waiting for it. It's there. They just need to fucking do it. Go watch him in
Impact.
Impact, and he acted crazy.
In his defense, like 90% of the people on Impact act crazy. So
yeah. So Cameron Grimes ended up winning with a double knee type finisher. It looked like the Andrade finisher, but not on the rope.
Gotcha.
Not the double. You know what I'm talking about, where he does that kind of like Bronco Buster thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the end of that match. And then my favorite segment of the fucking night, the Hood Rat.
Oh my god.
Fucking Bianca Belair, man. And I yelled at Trek tonight for this. It's like, well, at least she's not acting like a hood rat. Dude, did you not watch the fucking match? She was being a hood rat. Yes, she beat the shit out of the girl, but she's acting like a fucking hood rat.
You know, the thing... I'm sorry?
Go ahead,
that, she was acting like a badass. That's why I wanted to see it. And then she turned back into the fucking hood rat, like you said. I'm like, God, fucking damn it.
She beat the shit out of this lady. I think her name was Tamika. I'm not really sure. But throughout the match, she was acting like her normal hood rat self. I'm sorry if that offends people. I don't give a fuck. But she acts like a fucking 15-year-old hood rat.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that what pisses me off the most with Bianca Belair is she is so immensely talented, but her character is just...
It sucks.
It is. I hate it. Some people like it. I personally hate it. I guess as a heel, we're supposed to hate her character, but I don't know. To me, like JP said, it is very 15-year-old high school cheerleader stuck up type bullshit, you know? And I think that they could do better with her.
I do too. And she's stuck in. They had her turn face, and then they had her turn heel. They're doing the fucking Big Show. How many times can we turn her fucking heel and face? You know, it's like, good God, I don't know. Bianca Belair can fuck off. That's all I got.
Well, I mean, like I said, she's immensely talented. So I just wish that they would repackage her into something that would actually benefit her.
we talked about this, and I said and Dory was on the call, and we said it'd be best if they do something like they do with Tony Nese as being like the premier athlete,
There
because
you
she's
go.
such an
Mhm.
athletic beast in terms of like wrestling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I totally agree with, and I remember that.
He-
I was trying to remember who I was talking to with that, because I'm fucking old and crusty and I forget shit.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, like, the character works well for her in NXT, but I just don't see
It's
it.
not. Nope. It's.
I don't see it flowing over to the main roster very well, especially
I don't
with the
even like
whole
it in
hair whip.
NXT.
But especially with the whole hair whipping thing, because the hair should be it's not her real hair, so it should be
WWE
considered
is
a
not going to
weapon.
get rid of that. There's no way in hell that's going to follow her to the main roster, because I know Vince is going to be like, it sets her apart.
Yeah, I can see it.
Probably.
It sets her apart from fucking me wanting to fucking cut her hair off, but yeah. So fuck Bianca Belair. They gotta fix her. I'm sorry if y'all fucking like her. You can stop listening to me. I don't care. But fuck Bianca Belair. That's all I gotta fucking say. They need to change her. And I haven't seen anybody disagree with me yet. So whatever. Then the main event, and this pisses me off. So another thing that pisses me off about WWE, you bring Tyler Breeze down
Hmm.
to lose to people that he should
Yes.
be beating.
Yeah, but I
He's
think that
enhancement talent.
I was just gonna say they
No,
brought
and
him.
I get that, but this is why I am everybody that shouts, well, we want to see Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze should be champion. This is why the fans need to shut the fuck up and let WWE do what they do. Okay?
Well, and
Because Tyler Breeze, I think he's a really good talent, but he is nothing more than enhancement talent. Now, when Fandango comes back, I guarantee it that they're gonna have them right back in the fucking tag team scene, and they're gonna be shot right back up. And if they don't change anything in WWE, they're gonna be back in the police files bullshit.
It's
Fashion
exactly
Files,
what they're
I
gonna
love
do.
that
Police
shit.
files, fashion
Um,
files, whatever the fuck
You know what? I love the fashion files,
I
but
love
they
the
did it.
Fashion Files.
They overdid it,
They
and they
did.
do it with everybody. And we've discussed this forever. It's like, yes, the gimmick's fun. They're not only a gimmick; they're a wrestling team. Can they wrestle and also have a gimmick, or do
Well,
they just stay in the back and do their gimmick?
Well, and with Tyler Breeze right now, I think that he is kind of doing a position very similar to what Tyson Kidd did when him and Natty went back to NXT, where he's not only an enhancement talent trying to get over the new people, but he's also helping to train them by being in the ring with them, and doing these matches. So, but he better be careful, because that's exactly how fucking Tyson Kidd ended up with a broken neck.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that was kind of like a freak accident.
Yeah, it was.
Who broke his neck anyway? Was
Joe.
Samoa? I was gonna say I thought it was Samoa Joe, but anyway.
It's not like Samoa Joe needed talent enhancement.
Exactly.
I don't understand that, why they had that match. But anyway, but Roderick Strong ended up winning with his what is that finishing move that he has called? I can't remember. I don't care.
Can't remember either.
But it's
shit.
that knee to the back.
Oh, the lung. No, it's not the lung blower. That's Ciampa.
Yeah, Ciampa's the lumbar check or whatever it is.
No,
No,
that's-
the lumbar check is his finisher.
It is, but that's Cedric Alexander calls it the lumbar check. It's not. It's the same thing, but he calls it
Like,
something else. The
End
end
of
of
the
the
party or something.
It's
end
a
of the-
backbreaker of some form.
end of the heartache or something. I can't.
End of the party, I think.
End of the party. Yeah, that sounds gay. But anyway,
I swear it was the end of the heartache. That
It
sounds
is.
a little bit better.
I can't.
End of the party sounds it sounds really gay.
I mean, end of the party just sounds like he's about ready to throw up.
Sounds like something
It's my
something
party.
Bianca
That's how I
Belair.
end parties.
It sounds like a Bianca Belair finisher because she's a hood rat. But anyway,
End of the party blackout. Wake up tomorrow. I need Tylenol.
but Roderick Strong ends up winning, and But this is a problem that I see. I see all over fucking Twitter. How come they're fucking doing this to Tyler Breeze? My God, people. I mean, what the fuck do you want WWE to do?
But if Tyler Breeze won, what are you going to do with that? Like,
but here's what I think that they're doing, because they have been kind of teasing this whole friction, so to speak, between Roderick Strong and Adam Cole. And I think that by building up momentum with Roderick Strong, having him win matches against guys like Tyler Breeze and kind of like bigger talents in NXT, that is ultimately going to help push the storyline toward them imploding and Adam Cole and Roderick Strong going against each other.
What I think is going to happen is I'm going to take the scenario you put out there earlier, JP, and I'm going to say we're going to switch roles. It's not going to be Adam Cole that doesn't maintain. It's going to be Roderick Strong that doesn't win, and they're going to turn on him.
But they already did that.
No, they didn't.
They didn't turn, but Roderick Strong has already not won a title.
No, I understand, but like if their whole thing is we're going to own NXT, we're going to have all the titles, I think it would make more sense for Roderick Strong to be the guy that doesn't win and turn him into the face that fights for the title against Adam Cole than it would be the opposite way, because then Adam Cole would have to fight Roderick Strong for the second best title.
Well, and not only that, but that would also kind of work it into where Adam Cole wouldn't be called up to the main roster right away.
Yeah. There's no way that they're going to end a feud where they just beat up Adam Cole and he goes to the main roster.
I don't think they're going to end.
It's not going to happen.
I don't think they're going to end the feud, but I think they'll probably have one more match, you know, at the Royal Rumble, fucking, because it's only 2 months out from there.
Yeah.
So then they can call Adam Cole up the next fucking night and have him at the Royal Rumble.
I feel like they should call up. I mean, if it's a Royal, I don't think. I actually think Undisputed Era in some form should stay together, even if it's just Adam Cole and the other two. Roderick Strong is on his own. I don't like the idea of just debuting Adam Cole singularly. I think it's a mistake because he is undersized. Though he's ridiculous on the mic and he's passable in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
He's way past passable in the ring. Way past it.
I love it when fucking Basement disagrees with Gina.
Seriously, like
no, he's not a grandiose talent in the ring. Come on.
You're telling me that Adam fucking Cole is not passable in the ring?
No, I'm saying he is passable.
But you're saying that all he is just passable.
Yes.
You are fucking high.
Okay, so how is he really good in the ring?
Have you seen any of his matches before WWE?
Yes,
before WWE.
Trust me, his biggest selling point is his mouth.
That is true.
Well, definitely that's true, but I'm not like he's better than just passable in the ring.
In what way?
Oh, for the love of God, Basement. I don't want to argue with you because I can't win with you. I can't. Really?
No, he's good in the ring. Is essentially what I'm saying. He's not great in the ring.
I'm not even getting in this one.
Everybody else just says no. JP, is he great in the ring?
He's not. He's better than good. I wouldn't say he's
better than passable.
Better than good is great.
I mean, come on. He's better than passable. Everybody knows he's better than passable.
Thank you.
No.
He's better than passable.
Okay, so is he okay? So if you had to compare him to somebody in the ring, who would you compare him to?
I don't know.
Because great in the ring to me means he's AJ Styles, means he's Shawn Michaels level. That's great in the ring.
I don't think he's as good as AJ Styles, no. I don't think he's as good as Seth Rollins. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe Cody.
So he's good. He's good in the ring.
But the thing is, good and passable are two different things. First of all, basement. Okay.
Good is passable.
Second of all,
He's speaking semantics now.
yeah.
But I mean, I okay.
Give
So,
him
do you
time.
remember him more for his in-ring work or his on-mic work?
Well, obviously, because they have him on mic a lot more than he's in ring.
Because
But-
that's what he's better at.
But I think if you give him time within the company, because Adam Cole's only in his 20s. Okay, so you give him time within the company, and I think that he could possibly eventually like reach the Seth Rollins level because he has
No,
that.
He can't. He can't.
Yeah.
He's nowhere near the athlete Seth Rollins is. In ring, it will never
Disagree.
happen. It will never happen. Seth
Well,
Rollins is a
100%.
completely different wrestler as well.
Nope, fuck you. I disagree.
Well, that's fair. I'm not. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. I mean, the way I feel about him is that his greatest strength is on the mic,
Passable.
and he's passable in ring. I will stick by that. I mean, that's how I stand. He's passable in ring.
So, what do you think about Kyle O'Reilly then?
Name me a 5-star or close to 5-star match with him.
Okay, hold on. Are we talking about specifically just WWE or prior to WWE?
Just WWE, because I didn't really watch him prior. But even prior, he wasn't.
Hold up. If you didn't watch him prior, then that's the fucking problem here. Why you think that Adam
Did you
Cole
watch
is?
him prior?
Yes, I did. You go back and you watch Adam Cole versus fucking Kyle O'Reilly for the freaking ROH championship.
Kyle O'Reilly is a wizard in ring.
That's exactly. Exactly.
He's fighting somebody that's a wizard in ring. Like, come on. Kyle O'Reilly is better in ring than Adam Cole.
I mean, I can't argue with you there. I like Kyle O'Reilly, but
Is this based on whether or not you like the person?
no, Kyle O'Reilly is fucking amazing in the ring. Hands down.
I like them
Probably
both,
one of
but
the best wrestlers that I think WWE has at hand today.
I like them both. I don't know if I'd go that far with Kyle O'Reilly, but he's definitely like the reason I like him so much is because he's very he's very distinguishable in his in-ring talent. Kyle O'Reilly wrestles a certain style that nobody else really wrestles, which is cool. Adam Cole, though, I don't know, man. I couldn't give him so much credence in the ring. He's good, but if he didn't have the mic skills, he'd be nothing.
He's world championship material. He can wrestle.
He can.
He's
not
as good as Shawn Michaels, but he's the Shawn Michaels type.
Mm-hmm.
He's not as good in ring as Shawn Michaels.
In all honesty, like him and Shawn Michaels in ring are worlds apart.
Okay. Can we agree on one thing? And that is that Kyle O'Reilly needs a championship back so that he can continue to come out and play it like a guitar.
He doesn't need a title to come out and play the guitar. He does it anyway.
I know, but it's better when he does it with the title.
I don't know about that.
I agree with that. No, he's passable.
Just give him just give him a belt. Give him a fucking belt like Cody, and he comes out and fucking plays on it. You don't need a
weightlifter.
title.
He just come out with a weightlifter's belt.
Yeah, fuck it. Who cares?
No.
belt.
I'd like them as tag champs, so I'd like to see it again. But
he's gonna be a tag team champion. I think they're gonna end up winning the titles probably at Toronto or after. Go ahead.
The only thing that I'm afraid of with like Kyle O'Reilly and even Bobby Fish is, well, not necessarily Bobby Fish, because like in my opinion, Bobby Fish is probably one of the weakest links in Undisputed Era. But with Kyle O'Reilly, I'm afraid that with him being lumped into a tag team with Bobby Fish, that that's where he's gonna stay. Yeah. You know, like he get a chance to shine as a singles competitor, which I think is a fucking shame because
How
the guy
old is he?
He's the same age as Adam Cole.
Yeah, I think they're both like 26 or 28, something like that.
Adam Cole's 30.
I have no idea.
No, you shut the front door. Adam Cole is 30. If not, he's 29.
Wow.
Kyle O'Reilly, like, I don't have no idea really how good he is on the mic. I've seen him in segments, but most
He's
of the
in.
Undisputed Era is recorded.
Kind of. He's passable.
All right. But I don't know, like, if he has potential to grow in that area. But
No.
Adam Cole, passable.
Fucking asshole.
I don't know. I think Kyle O'Reilly likes being in a tag team. That's why he is where he is.
I
hate to say
enjoyed
that.
him.
I hate to say that, Gina, but I don't think that he will ever make a run of the singles title.
I know. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I
And
enjoy.
I don't think we'll
title.
blame. I think it's him. I don't think it's WWE. Because I'm pretty sure if WWE, Vince would do the same fucking thing with Bianca Belair. It sets him apart with that title thing that he does, playing the guitar. I guarantee it. But he'll want to stay. He'd much rather stay as a tag team.
I mean, I can respect that, but it kind of disappoints me. It disappoints me in the same sense.
I'd say never with him. I think, like, he's kind of like an X factor. You don't really know what to expect. He will enter the main roster as a tag team, though.
Yes.
Oh God, yeah.
But other than that,
is that it for NXT?
Yeah, that was the end. You have anything else you want to add? I usually do you can talk about whatever real quick. And
did you guys read the article that Kenta gave by chance to New Japan?
No, because I can't read Japanese.
It's actually in English.
I can't read English either, so.
No, but he was talking about, like, what he wants to do with his New Japan run, and specifically why I bring this up. It really has nothing to do with New Japan. It was more because he talked about the reason why he left WWE, and he said that in WWE he didn't feel well. First of all, he acknowledged that he was injured. You know, he had a couple injuries that set him back.
Mm-hmm.
But he said that WWE, they limited what he could do so significantly to the point, like, okay, Kenta is the one that he initially came up with the go to sleep. That was his move before it was ever CM Punk's move. That was Kenta's move.
CM Punk took a lot of his moveset, but apparently he was given the go ahead to do so by Kenta, so whatever.
Right, but what Kenta had a problem with was it was his move originally, but he was told in WWE that he could not use it, and it wasn't because it injured people.
But he did use it, did he not?
He did when he first came into NXT, but then they made him stop using it, and they claimed it was because it was too easy to injure somebody. But he said that wasn't the real reason. They said the real reason was because it was the CM Punk thing. They didn't want that interfering, so he got pissed that he couldn't use his own move that he invented because WWE told him not to. And then there was a lot of other stuff that they wouldn't let him do. So it's a pretty good read, but he goes on to kind of say,
Well, go ahead.
But he goes on to kind of explain a little bit further as to, like, what kind of pushed him to leave WWE, and then, like, why he chose New Japan, which is basically, like, he said that he feels like he has a lot. He knows his time is running out, but he still has a lot to give, and he wanted to be able to come to a place where he knows that he can do what he wants to do.
Right.
But
I don't care about him.
I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna wait for the G1 and see how he does in the G1, because
I like Kenta, but I'm going to tell you this. I don't think I'll ever get rid of the same as John Moxley. I don't think I'll ever get rid of the WWE in him. Ever.
Well, I mean, he just injuries killed him, really.
Yeah.
But I also think even if they didn't, like, he had a very limited ceiling because of his stature.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to find out.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to find out who real quick that he was facing in night one, because he has a match in night one, and I was kind of curious if he's gonna actually be able to win that or not.
I don't think he's going up against, like, Naito, I think. something like that. He's going up against one of the big guys. I do believe, if I remember correctly. I do want to make mention of one thing. I know Gina. I told Gina. I don't know. I know that you had your moment with the huffy puffy. But did you see what I put in the chat about who they have on the buy-in?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
That, if they were to do that in WWE, and again, if they were to do that in WWE, people would shit all fucking over it.
Yep. Oh, just real quick, going back to the
And
other
if you
one.
don't know, what we're talking about, MJF, who I think is the top heel in that company right now, because of what he's done over the last month and a half, 2 months. He's the man. He's the top heel. And if they don't capitalize on that, they have missed out on this kid. I mean, they're pushing him as a top heel, but they're not putting him on the fucking buy-in show. Doesn't do it for me.
I feel like he's the top heel on the mic, but in ring, he's passable.
He's passable.
Yeah. Real quick, go back to the Kenta match. Yeah, Kenta, night 1, Kenta's going up against Kota Ibushi, so he's going to be annihilated.
I don't know about that. I think it'll be a great match.
I don't know. I think Kota Ibushi might still have a little bit of a fucking concussion from his head hitting the ring, so we'll see.
Oh, well, whatever. It might be perfect to put to go to sleep on him. I don't know.
No. That's how the match starts.
I know there's people losing their collective shit. We'll probably talk about this on Friday, but the New Japan or AEW put a kibosh, and I think they were going to do it. That's why New Japan was going to do their thing. Then they in Dallas, and they got excited when Moxley got out of his contract. They were going to have Moxley in Dallas just to get exposure, but AEW put a stop to it because they have exclusive rights. And that's the exclusivity that we're talking about, where Chris Jericho could not, because he was still under contract with WWE, could not wrestle and that's why he said he would never wrestle for a title in the United States. Or wrestle, But now that he's not with WWE, that's why he is going for, and he should win the AEW title, in my opinion. But
real quick, I was just talking to somebody on it was under a tweet that Ryan Satin did actually, and JP, did you see the thing about that, like the chair? It looked like the chair was like a gimmick chair kind of. Okay. But I was sitting there because I was like, I told Basement and I were talking about this last night, and I'm like, he bladed. Like, there's no way he 100%. Had to have bladed. But Basement, like, I could send you the picture if you want to, but you can actually, somebody took a still shot picture of it, and you can actually see that at one point his head, the top of his head gets trapped in between like the seat part of the chair and the top part of the chair. And the top part of the chair is, the top part of the chair is back by that part on his head where it got cut open. So it is believable. Yeah, I'll send you the picture right now.
I don't know. I just think it was fucking stupid that he fucking didn't put his hands up. I don't care what anybody fucking says. He deserves everything he got for that.
I actually have no problem with that spot at all.
Well,
it was rehearsed, so I mean,
I'm not a fan of it, so I don't care.
I have no problem with it. I mean, if anybody's going to get up in arms about him taking an open chair shot to the head, then why wouldn't you get up in arms about Randy Orton getting the fucking skull bashed out of him by Brock Lesnar?
I didn't care for it then. I didn't care for it.
I think that's much more dangerous than an open chair shot to the head.
All right, so
I've taken a chair shot to the head. It's not much. It doesn't really hurt.
I will send these pictures to the thing.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of that hardcore bullshit.
I know what you're saying, but like in a specific like organized spot, I don't think it's.
If you put
it's not like all of a sudden he got hit by a chair and now he's got fucking CTE.
But but the thing was, is throughout that whole thing.
No, this proves absolutely nothing to me. He
Look at the
definitely.
second picture I just
Yeah,
seen. You can
he-
see the
he was
top of it. You can see the top of his head in
But how
between the chair and the seat.
But like this, it doesn't give me the angle I need.
What angle do you want to be up his fucking nose? Like Jesus Christ, you can see the top of his head.
I'm just gonna say this. It's passable. So anyway,
It is passable. It's passable. It's probable. There's probable chance
Fucking I hate
that
you.
he didn't blade and he got obliterated by the back end of a chair. I hope that chair was made out of razor blades.
Could have been worse. It could have been Sammy Callan with a damn baseball bat in the chair.
Yeah, that was flub
Okay.
spot.
whatever. I don't fuck Sammy Callahan. I think he's a
He's a
douchebag.
fucking dick.
He's a douche canoe.
I love
You're
him.
a douche canoe.
He's literally my
And-
wrestler. How are you guys talking this way?
Basement probably doesn't even understand who the fuck you guys are talking about right
Sammy
now.
Callahan, man. I'm not talking about
Sammy
Lucha
No,
Underground.
I don't mind Sammy Callahan. I just don't like fucking
His character.
his character. I think it's stupid. But anyway,
His character is like, yeah, it's kind of.
Hey, Basement, what about Killer Cross?
Killer Cross can go fuck
Oh.
himself.
Killer Cross unemployed.
Yeah, he is.
Yes, he is.
Stay unemployed. But anyway,
I did.
Bastard.
What?
Basement has no fucking idea who Killer Cross is.
I know who he is. I also don't care.
I don't care either. Sorry. Scarlett Bordeaux
Callahan
can
was
go
in
back
Lucha
to
Underground. Man, I know.
Scarlett Bordeaux can go back to working at the strip club for all I care.
Where a random fan groped every part of her body. I watched that video live.
First of all, she worked with fucking Joey Ryan, which is basically
there's a fucking plus. Let me tell you.
Joey Ryan. I hope.
He lets women who take out their tampons shove them in each other's mouths.
Nah, it
Oh, don't-
wasn't her.
Mm-mm.
That was
Mm-mm.
Priscilla Kelly. She can straight
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
off too.
And she loves him.
He's a proponent for being an asshole.
So you
He's-
just Trek. Priscilla Kelly loves Joey Ryan, right?
Yes.
Joey Ryan does a dick flip. She eats fucking tampons. What the fuck? Come on, man.
She takes her tampon out and
Well,
shoves it
whatever.
in somebody
That's
else's.
even
Whatever.
worse. I'd rather eat her own tampon. What the fuck?
I
Throwing it at people. Holy fuck.
whatever. You know what I
This
mean.
is almost akin to like
Fucking
taking a shit.
disgusting.
It's almost akin to me taking a shit in my hand and throwing it at somebody.
I'm just saying.
It's wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. Get over it.
I could say that. I could literally say that. I just pissed on somebody, but it's wrestling, guys. Get over it.
It's a work. Don't worry. She'll get up.
Don't worry. It's washable. It's only
Basically,
urine.
R. Kelly is going to fucking prison.
Francis, could you see what she did?
It was a work, I swear.
You poop flinger.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus fuck. Have we been recording for like 4 hours now?
Yes, we have. Which I'm gonna
Holy
end the show
fuck.
here. So I want to thank everybody. If this works, hopefully it won't be 4 hours. But I think
It'll
we
be
just
4
went
hours.
off on a tangent. And
Raw was
just
like
talked,
7 hours by itself.
right? But if I get enough, I might just do this because
This is
going
a lot easier on
live.
all of us, to be honest.
I mean, I won't be doing it on a fucking Wednesday night. You guys will be getting this on a Thursday. If anything, I'll do it, and it's gonna be a quick Wednesday after SmackDown after NXT's over. Just do a quick show and then that's it.
Quick show.
Well, quick
Heather,
2 hour show.
It was passable.
I know. Fuck off.
I have to damn Heather right now because I keep on like that fucking Finn Balor shit that she sent me. I keep on. I can't stop looking at it.
So with that being said, I'm going to end the show here. I want to thank all of my hosts. Connor Okayfabe coming at the beginning. He hung out with us for about an hour or so. I want to appreciate Basement, but he won't let me.
Appreciate
Sorry.
me.
I have
You're
just
just-
4 o'clock in the fucking almost 4 in the morning. Is fuck me. I can't even talk anymore. I am tired. I want to thank Basement, Trek, Bobbit, Gina for hanging out with me and doing this with me. This is not easy for me to do because I'm better at other things, and doing reviews is not one of them because I fucking hate taking fucking notes. But I want to thank you guys for helping me through this, and we will see you Friday for
This weekend. Wrestling.
this weekend. Shut the fuck up. Nobody's talking to you. Friday
He's
for
so
this.
angry when he's tired.
We'll see you Friday for This Week in Wrestling. We're going to probably talk about the same fucking shit we just talked about here, but it'll be over on Bobbitt's channel. So,
That
guys have-
entices me to watch it.
Shut up.
Guy.
No, I'm just kidding. There's more stuff. We'll talk New Japan. We'll talk AEW. We'll talk more AEW, more New Japan.
When are you going to eat your soft tacos?
That's a good point. Soon.
Francis,
Lies.
I will do it. I promise.
he's gonna eat his soft tacos as soon as Francis comes to visit. Okay.
Yeah, Francis!
Who the fuck is Francis?
Where the
I
fuck
missed
have you
something
been
along
for the
the way.
last hour and a half? 2 hours. All right, so that being said, you guys have a great night. We'll talk to you Friday. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Francis! Francis!
Oh my god,
Francis is a terrible name.
dude, I'm not.